DRG Media Group and River 92.7 are bringing you all home Oahe Zap games all season long. Tune in on the radio, listen on the app, or watch live on drgnews.com. Now, let's send it to the broadcast booth for some Oahe Zap baseball.
Welcome into beautiful Hyde Stadium for tonight's contest between the Oahe Zap and the Hastings Sodbusters. I'm Dylan Beach. Join alongside me our producer extraordinaire Eli Lewis and my partner Justin Cowart. Should be a nice day for some baseball. Beautiful blue skies, a little bit of clouds, a bit of a hot one here today, but should be a fun day at the ballpark as always, Justin.
Absolutely. We were a little bit worried we might have some showers, some thunderstorms coming through later this afternoon, something that we had to deal with in our last home game before the Zap hit the road, but things have cleared out nicely. It's warm, but the fans, they know where to find themselves some shade here at Hyde Stadium.
Yeah, the rain has certainly followed this Zap baseball team around. We saw Quinn Ludvigsen hit the go-ahead grand slam in between rain delays last time we were in the booth. We got cut short. That game actually picked up in Spearfish over the weekend. Was not the Zap's week in the South Dakota World Series. Had a few games where they led, couldn't hold on to some of those leads, and just wasn't a great weekend in Spearfish for them.
Well, that's one thing that I think we need to remember is the Zap have been putting themselves in position to win a lot of these ball games, and then just some unfortunate things have come along, and they had played 7 games against a very good Spearfish team and were in essentially each one of those games. They had one where Spearfish just got on them early and stayed on top of them, but in all the other games that they were competing, Zap had the lead at points. And going back to that series, I think one of the most confidence-boosting games that they saw was against Tristan Augadal, the 6'8" flamethrower who came out, had a perfect game bid through 5 innings, and Jamie Habiger laid into his team a little bit, got him fired up, and then we found some offense going. They started to get hits. They started to get guys on base. They started to bring runners across the plate, and that was a little bit of a stepping stone, it felt like, deeper into this season. And, this season is got everything in front of them as we start to get towards the second half when the real important baseball starts to get played. Those are the kind of things that I think this team will try to use to their advantage.
Yeah, and that was certainly not an easy matchup with the Spearfish Sasquatch. Since they've kind of got their core crew together, have just been mowing down the ILB, charging all the way up into second place now. And, I mean, they're a well-put-together ball club with a lot of power guys. We saw Kyle Finn put one out here. He put one out in Spearfish, too, and you got guys like Sam Kwapnoski who hit a grand slam against the Zap, and the Zap power, credit to them, has been getting going a bit. Quinn Ludvigsen had the grand slam, had another home run out in Spearfish, and then Mason Lang getting his second of the year on an inside the Parker. Got a bit of luck on that one. The outfielder ran into the wall, and he did not get up very fast.
Well, you never want to see an injury, but good to hear that he was back up, and it sounds like he was able to continue playing. But, you'll take your home runs however you can get them. However, I think that this Zap ball club is better at playing small ball, finding little gaps in the defense, dropping down some base hits, getting guys on. Stealing bases is something that we've seen the Zap be successful at in this season in spots. So, I don't think it's about trying to hit the long ball. It's always fun. It's always sexy. It's always great to see. But I love to see when the Zap get back to the basics, try to, put guys in positions to where it doesn't take a home run to drive in runs. It can take a soft fly ball into shallow right center, or it can take a fielder's choice on a throw over to first and bring a runner in from third, or a sac fly out to left field. There's a million ways you can score runs in baseball. Zap are still finding ways to do that.
Yeah, manufacturing the run will certainly be something to watch out for as the Zap start into this big homestand.
This is going to be a fun homestand. A lot of Zap baseball to be played and a lot of things that the fans can look forward to get out to Hyde Stadium for.
Yeah, just the one-game series versus Hastings. I'm not sure I've seen too many one-game series, but it's kind of a weird setup. They come into town for a day, and then they head to Spearfish, and then we'll have, 10 games in 11 days coming up?
I was looking at the schedule earlier today, just getting myself mentally prepared for that long home stretch. Going to be a lot of baseball. Can't wait for that. That's going to be a ton of fun. But, yes, it's an interesting setup. I think the reason they scheduled this game here today was for a couple different reasons. Hastings making their way through on their way to Spearfish. Hey, let's get a game together. But also, this is a really good opportunity for the Zap to face off against a playoff team. This is a team that started 10-0 to kick off this 2025 campaign. This is going to be a really good measuring stick at where the Zap are in their season, and a great opportunity to test your mettle against one of the better teams in this league as the Zap continue to make a playoff push. You know, the Spearfish Sasquatch have played great ball in the first half, as had the Hastings Sodbusters. So those two teams are probably going to find themselves into that one of two playoff spots. Zap are kind of setting themselves up to getting in their groove as the season continues on. This is a great opportunity here today to kind of see where you are against some of the best competition in this league.
Yeah, and I think another interesting aspect is kind of that measuring stick type of game. I mean, you saw them in your second series of the year when you were kind of testing things out. See how you play against them today. You got swept out in Hastings. See if you kind of bounce back. See what's working from this year. See if you can kind of put it towards this Hastings team.
Well, the other thing, too, is the Zap have been playing a lot of baseball. This is their 8th straight day playing. Of course, as we mentioned, that 7-game series against a very good Spearfish team, and then you don't really get much of a break here in this 1-game series against Hastings. But the way I was thinking about it today is this is a great opportunity. The Zap have 3 days off after today's game wraps up, and I imagine that these guys are getting pretty excited, knowing that they're going to get a nice little break, a nice little rest coming up, and this is a perfect opportunity to go out of this 8-game stretch on a high note. Beating one of the better teams in this league would be huge for this squad.
Yeah, some of these guys going to be definitely enjoying their break. I know a few heading down to Omaha for the College World Series, and with the days off, I think we could see a bit of a longer outing at Easton Pratt. We've seen them go deep into some ball games, but with some extra rest before the next series gets started, I think we could go see him a bit deeper tonight.
Well, it's no secret that Easton is this staff's ace. He is their go-to guy. He is kind of their reliable pitcher. We saw, and it was such a shame that game got cut short last week because he was pitching so well, so comfortably on the mound, had all of his pitches working, and he was getting after that Spearfish lineup. And then, of course, the rain came through. We had to cut it short. And it's so interesting with pitchers of how they can just feel one thing and say, I can't go, or I'm not good to go. And I actually heard a very interesting interview with maybe the best pitcher in all of baseball right now, Tarek Skubal. And he kind of said the same thing. He said, I feel a huge, huge difference on 4 days rest versus 5 days rest, and even 5 days rest to 6 days rest. So Easton Pratt, I think he's really going to try to dig into his bag here today. He knows he's got plenty of days off ahead where he can really get some good quality rest in. It's not like they're going to have to turn to him in a time of need here in the next week or so. So, it'll be interesting to see how Jamie Habiger goes. Now, all of that's to say, Easton Pratt's got to go out and pitch a good game against a very good starting lineup. Yeah, and for sure, Easton Pratt has been stellar to start this year for the Zap. 22 strikeouts in 17 innings with a 2.64 ERA has been arguably the prize jewel of a new and improved pitching staff, and it was a bit unfortunate that rain delay. He was really moving well, and then you have a guy like Josh Porter warming up in the bullpen to take it from him the rest of the way, and then that game gets resumed in Spearfish. The 3-2 full count to Gavin Frazier. He strikes out on it, and that's when I in the crowd, I was like, this might be turning the other way. Yeah, and, back to this home series that we saw here last week, we talked about Jamie Habiger, how he kind of got his team up and ready for that game. This is a long season. There's a lot of baseball left to be played, and we're starting to kind of see and stack out where each player kind of belongs in this roster, in this lineup, where they belong on the field. We've seen some mistakes made, but there's plenty of time to make up for those mistakes, and it's always been tough for the Zap going on the road. It's a lot of series that are somewhat far from home, and a lot of these guys coming from all over the country are already far from home. So it can be a little tough to get yourself comfortable and to get yourself in that right rhythm. But this is a perfect setup here for the Zap. They're back in their home area here. They have 3 days off coming up ahead. They can close out a long stretch of games with a win here tonight, and then they get nothing but home games for what seems like the rest of this month, essentially. Yeah, and that is the one upside of starting with so many games on the road is you get some nice lengthy homestands to really settle in. You have some reinforcements that'll be getting here within the next couple of weeks. You might be losing a few first-half players, but get those new guys in, get them reacclimated with the team, see if any of them can hit the ground running. And if not, you still have some of your guys who are kind of settling into this long season, but already having some standouts, kind of just guys you can pencil into their spot just about every day. Gavin Frazier at shortstop and leadoff.
just about every day that he's ready to go. Vince Polizzi batting in the 3 spot ever since he joined the team. And there's a lot of guys that Coach Habiger, it's maybe an easy decision to put them in the lineup. And as the season goes on, you're going to have to really rely on some of those rotational guys to give those guys some breaks.
Well, a lot of these guys are baseball players, right? They can just pretty much plug and play anywhere. Yes, there is a camaraderie that's built within a team, but you know what? These guys are just always, and they're young too. They're college ball players, so they feel like they are ready to play at any moment, any time. Coach, you tell me where I need to be, put me anywhere in the field, I'll be ready to go. And that's one of the things I love about this summer ball. Guys don't have to be here. They want to be here, and they want to be playing on this team. So, you know, there's a lot of upside left with this season, and a lot of familiarity with this group, and a lot of familiarity on the microphone tonight. We've actually got a fan favorite, and Brian Oakland singing our national anthem here this evening. You know, when Alex came in, he always comes in and tells us, you know, home plate umpire, field umpire, and he also tells us who's going to be singing the national anthem. When he said Brian Oakland, you know, I almost thought he was joking. Brian Oakland, of course, the voice of the Peer Governors here in central South Dakota, has been calling their games for years, as a mainstay in this community. And, you know, it's when you ask somebody who's kind of in the public eye if they want to do something a little bit out of their comfort zone, normally it's kind of like, you know what, no, I'm going to stick to what I know best. I'm going to stick to calling games. Brian Oakland is always up for a new challenge, and one of those things was, he said, he was kind of telling us a story of when he was in Stanley County's booth, which is now my home for calling games, and he said, you know, they were going to play the national anthem over the loudspeaker. CD wasn't working, so we were in a break. He said, give me that microphone, and the guy was like, are you sure? He said, absolutely, give me that microphone, and he sang the national anthem. So here in a couple moments, we're going to get to hear Brian Oakland, but before we do that, should we introduce our starting lineups?
Yeah, I'll pass it over to you to start for the Hastings Sodbusters.
Awesome. It'll be Christian Loera starting at shortstop and leading off for the Sodbusters today. Drew Vega playing second base, batting in the 2-hole. Jaden Shabry is the designated hitter. Ryan Jarvis batting in the cleanup spot, playing first. Brock Cross, third baseman, is going to be batting in the 5 spot. Zane Wilson out in left field, batting in the 6 spot today. Weston Johnson is going to be behind the dish, catching Luke Causey this afternoon. Cooper Harrell in right field, and in the 9-hole, center fielder Jet Hannaford. And I'll hand it back to my partner Dylan Beach as the Oahe Zap are being announced down on the field. He's going to announce them up here in our press box.
Yeah, Gavin Frazier, like usual, leading off and playing short. Ty Farwell behind the plate. He'll be catching today and batting 2. Vince Polizzi at the 3rd spot, playing DH today. Connor Goldberg out and right in the 4-hole. Aiden Johnson back at 3rd in the 5 spot. Quinn Ludvigsen, tied for the team leader in home runs, plays 1st and bats 6th. Alex Jackson out in the left, hitting 7th. Caden Mazansky returns to the lineup in the 8th spot at second base. And Emiliano Curiel rounds things out, playing center field.
I just want to say one thing, too. It sounds like the intern crew, which we got to come up with a new name for you guys. You work much harder than an intern crew works at anywhere else in any other workplace. Seems like the team's taken a liking to you. It's the first time I've seen one of the intern crew, Katie Acosta, down there high-fiving the starters as they run out onto the field. Sounds like you guys had a good time at Spearfish, other than a couple tough losses to the Sasquatch. Sounds like you guys had a good time on the road.
Yeah, it was a good time out in Spearfish, a lovely town, a beautiful, beautiful town, but we can dive a bit into that trip as we go tonight.
We got 9 innings of baseball, and we've got a national anthem performed by the one and only Brian Oakland coming up.
Tonight's national anthem is presented by the Puerto Rico Police Peer Governor, Brian Oakland.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose cross rise and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming, and rockets red glare, the bombs bursting still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, I knew there was a lot that Brian Oakland was good at. He's an outstanding bowler, a pretty good golfer. He's great on the headset calling games, and I have to say, he's a pretty dang good singer too, Dylan.
I'm stunned.
That was very, very well done by Mr. Brian Oakland. And a perfect way to kick off a perfect night here in Central South Dakota. Monday evening, we are so thrilled you're going to be with us for this game between the Oahe Zap and the Hastings Sodbusters. Dylan, let's play some baseball.
Yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot of guys you'll hear singing the anthem, and you're like, don't quit your day job. But from what I hear, he's good at his day job, and he's a heck of a singer, too.
Well, he has been with Dakota Radio, which is now DRG Media Group, over the past couple of years, and has been with DRG Media for more than I can even remember. And he's been a great facilitator, a great teacher, great mentor to me, kind of getting me ingratiated to the community and getting me involved. But I will be honest, I thought if you had told me that he's a pretty good singer, I probably would have said, yeah, I'm sure you're right. But I would have never imagined that he could belt it like that. I'm glad we got to hear that national anthem from Brian Oakland. We're going to have him come back.
That was
and have
very
him do
good.
it again at some point this season.
He's going to have to stay on standby because that was probably some of the best we've heard this year.
Well done, Bo.
That was very good as we're itching closer and closer to the start of tonight's contest. Easton Pratt out on the bump. The right-armed flamethrower, 6'5". And we mentioned a lot of these guys are here to get playing time. They're here to improve. They're here to maybe claim a spot on their team. He's currently in the transfer portal looking for a new home. And, I mean, he's putting together an impressive resume so far in the ILB.
Well, we've seen a couple guys throughout this season from not only the Zap, but from some other teams that are playing so well that other colleges can't help themselves but come calling. We saw it in the last series with Peyton Fort, who is transferring from Northern Iowa Community College to Gwinnett into the Georgia area. And we're getting set for first pitch here, and Easton Pratt fires strike one.
Good start there for Easton Pratt. We have seen a lot of guys kind of move on to greener pastures. Easton Pratt looking for a new home to play his ball in the fall. He winds and sets. Swung on and fouled off for strike two. Oahe Zap in the all-white today. Navy socks, navy hat. The Sodbusters in their zucchini green gear with their gray pants. It's a nice jersey matchup here today as Pratt lines up for the 0-2. Belted back up the middle for a leadoff single there. Pratt tried to put a glove on it, so did Bazanski, but neither one there in time.
And Pratt, being a tall kid, he kind of reached his glove up and he looked down after the ball passed, wondering where the ball was. That was a very close play, but a nice hit there to get things started for Loero. Yep. And it feels like the Zap are playing the Oakland Athletics here. Well, I guess you can't call them the Oakland Athletics anymore, but
I'm going to, though.
Yeah, that's a sad story, a sad state of affairs. A poor fan base just got their team ripped from them. But anyway, back down to the diamond here.
Yellow here from Show's bunt. Pratt chasing, going to fire to first. In there in time for out number one. Moves the runner along. Maybe Hastings trying to manufacture a run here early.
Well, I think they know that they've got a tough matchup here today against Easton Pratt, and if they can just try to find a way to get a few runs across early and get themselves an advantage, it'll be nice for them to play in front with Luke Cossey on the mound. But a nice play there, really fundamentally sound by Easton Pratt. Didn't rush with a fast runner and Drew Vega getting up the line.
It's never an easy play to make. But
no, it is not.
Nice effort there from Pratt to get the runner out at first. Now, seeing a little bit of dancing at second base as that one misses high for ball one from Pratt. And it is very similar to the Oakland Athletics, and it is one of the sadder stories. A storied team in a storied ballpark, just moving, playing temp ball in Sacramento. Is that one in there for strike one for Pratt? Goes off speed and gets him looking.
And we should mention that we've got a familiar face back out in the field, and Dylan Turner, one of our umpires today. He was here for most of the Sasquatch series. Chris Dozark behind the plate today in the blue and black.
The 1-1 swung on and missed, or fouled back there, I should say. It's a good thing there. That one got away from Farwell. The runner was trying to head to third, but that one fouls off for strike 2.
Yeah, I think a good thing for Easton Pratt that one caught a little lumber. Farwell's been outstanding behind the dish, but there are just some balls that move so effectively that they're hard to stop for any catcher.
As Pratt gets set for the 1-2, a little bit of motion there at second, fires in.
Wow, that was a late timeout afforded by Chris Dozark.
The pitch was being thrown as it happened, so we'll get a replay of that one. Ty Farwell behind the plate trying to build a dam behind the plate. Don't let any balls pass. See if he can do his best Beaver impersonation tonight. As the 1-2 now from Pratt. Swung on, gets down in right field in front of Goldberg. That'll be a single. The runner will stop at third. One away, runners on the corners here for the Sodbusters.
Well, Loera had to pause. He was unsure if Goldberg was going to be able to get to that one on the fly, so he had to kind of stop in his tracks right where he was dancing out there at second base. And nice job by Connor Goldberg. Kind of deked him, put the glove up in the air like he was going to make that play, which would have forced Loera to tag up. But that little deke by Goldberg there in right field kept that runner at third, but Easton Pratt finding himself in a little bit of a jam here early, something that the Zap pitching staff has done but gotten out of nicely here at home this season.
That was a nice play from Goldberg. That was certainly a ball he could have scored on, a very fast runner, as that one misses outside for ball 1. Pratt trying to settle in here, make it out of his jam. We've seen him get out of a couple of situations like this on the year. He's got a good middle infield behind him. A double play would end the inning. But a couple of fast runners on will certainly be something in the back of the pitcher's mind.
And Loera really trying to play with the mind of Easton Pratt over there on third base, as Pratt maybe feeling that a little bit, misses way up and away on that 1-0 pitch to work into 2-0. Christian Loera really doing a nice job just taking the attention away from the batter of Easton Pratt.
That's back-to-back pitches missing way high and outside as the pickoff over to Ludvigsen, not in time. As I also would not be surprised if the Sodbusters maybe put on the double steal at some point here, as I've seen a lot of teams elect to do that, but you got your cleanup hitter in the box and don't want to throw out and out. As the 2-0 from Pratt misses just high for ball 3.
And something we don't see a lot of at the higher level of baseball, we see a lot of here in the ILB. We see a lot of bunting. You don't really see bunting so much in AAA up to the major leagues, but great to see some of these coaches still trying to play fundamental baseball with their teams.
3-0 to Pratt, in there for strike 1. Pratt getting on the board with strike 1 there. Just missed a couple of these pitches, some that he'd certainly want to have back. Would not want to load the bases here with just one away. Got to try to attack the batter here and get back into this. 3-1. Misses outside. The bases are loaded for the Sodbusters. One away. Now Pratt's really going to have to work to get out of this one.
Yeah, this is tough, too, for Pratt. You know, we talked about possibly getting him to go deep into this ball game, but, you know, his pitch count's starting to run up here early. He's loaded the bases, and, you know, really he has thrown some hittable pitches, and I don't think Jamie Habiger sending Easton Pratt out to start this ball game had any intention of making a mound visit in the top of the first. But Habiger going to go out, pull the entire infield in.
Yeah, go over what all your plays are here. I mean, there's a force out everywhere, but certainly don't want to make an error here and allow a run to score. We saw the Zap almost turn a double play with Pratt on the mound out in Casper, I believe was the game, as they got the runner at first, and then the throw up the line to first for the double play hit the batter, and then they ended up scoring a run regardless. So got to see what Coach Habiger's looking for if there is a ground ball here. But Pratt going to have to really barrel in here as we get the 5-hole hitter Brock Cross to the plate. See if he can try to attack Cross and get the second one away.
Well, something Hastings is good at is just kind of compiling runs, slowly but surely. And the next thing you know, teams find themselves in a deep deficit. See if Easton Pratt can avoid that here in the first.
Yellow in there for strike one. Ruck Cross out of Washington State. The Arizona product, a two-way player, right-handed pitcher and a utility guy. He gets to start at third today. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him pitch and hit in a game at some point this year as they try to pick off at third. Not in time. Skips away from Johnson a bit, but all the runners will stay put. We saw actually out in Spearfish over the weekend, it was Trujillo or Bowman. I think honestly maybe both of them played two-way, hitting and pitching in the same game. As it's a kind of a new art form, the two-way player. The 0-1 now from Pratt. Off-speed catches for strike two, and Pratt quickly ahead of the count.
That was a great pitch from Easton Pratt, a dangerous one too. Kind of left it over the plate, but with that cut, he hit his spot perfectly. And I don't think Cross really wanted to swing at that one. It's tough to swing and hit a perfectly placed pitch like that from Easton Pratt.
The 0-2 belted to Bazanski, running to the plate for the double play. Zap, get out of a jam. Get out of the top of the first.
And we're going to stay right here in this break because, boys, we got a first inning fiber fact to bring you from Venture Communications. Got to tell you, these guys love the first inning fiber facts. And here it is. Venture Communications, formed back in 1952 during a time when traditional telephone companies couldn't get phone lines to many areas they serve today. Rural residents and business owners took action and formed a committee that spread the organization of a cooperative we now call Venture Communications. Venture's bringing you fiber. And, fiber, it works through all sorts of weather. We had some wind here and some treacherous storms that came through central South Dakota. I got home this morning. My grill was on its side. My garden gnome that was dressed in Bill's gear was laying on his face. The wind had completely taken it out. We had some bad storms that came through, but my internet and my streaming was not affected because I have fiber from Venture Communications. Big thanks to Venture Communications for supporting us with our first inning fiber fact. And what a way to end that top of the first inning. That was a little bit dangerous, but a perfectly placed base hit, line drive right to Caden Bazanski. And a little bit of poor base running there by the Sodbusters allowed a double play. Not the one we were expecting to see, but we got one either way.
Yeah, you will certainly take that if you're Pratt. Better to maybe get some luck than to be good sometimes. And
absolutely.
Wasn't even a lucky play from Bazanski. It was a heads-up play to make the hard catch on the line drive and then the race to the bag. The runner fell down on his way back and was never going to have a chance there.
Well, I think, too, because we saw Christian Loera send one right back up the middle on the first base hit. And I think Bazanski, feeling that, being a great fielder in his own respect, he felt that that was kind of where he should be shading up the middle. And that's exactly what he did. Shaded it perfectly, played that ball. And if he's playing in his natural position, that probably gets down for a base hit and scores a couple runs, but he shaded him up the middle. And a perfect way to end that top of the first. Way to go, Kate.
Sorry for us cracking up. Eli Lewis is making all sorts of faces at us in the broadcast booth. He's funniest guy in Pierce, what I like to call him sometimes.
Well, it's tough because, he cares so much about the broadcast across the YouTube that when things aren't working to a T properly, he gets a little frustrated, and that's understandable, but we always love to laugh at the expense of our buddy Eli Lewis, as we like to call him, Big Country over there in the corner.
He's the best in the business.
And if you want to know why we call him Big Country, we'll have him on the headset at some point this season. He keeps asking. We'll let him on at some point sooner or later, and you'll know right when you hear those lips move why we call him Big Country. He's a great producer, director, engineer, I'll tell you that much.
Certainly learned it on the fly as we've gone, and he has hit the ground running as Gavin Frazier to the plate. He'll lead off the bottom of the first. Zap get out of a jam. Bases loaded with one away, but Bazanski getting the double play unassisted to get him out of the inning. As Gavin Frazier leading off to get things started for the Zap, has been stellar this year, has been a consistent member of this lineup leading off as the lefty Cossey deals. In there for strike one. Cossey also listed as a bit of a utility guy, another two-way player out of Arkansas Tech.
He's got a lively fastball, I'll tell you that much.
He's definitely got some good juice on the fastball as that one missed outside for ball one. Count even at one apiece. Frazier not afraid to take a long, patient at bat as he swings on that one to the third baseman. Throw across the diamond in time for out number one. Gavin Frazier saw one he liked and just chopped it back towards the third baseline.
Well, it's always interesting to me about some of these utility guys that we see is they often love to pump their fastballs in. It's all about the control, though, the placement of that fastball. And some pretty well-placed fastballs to start here by Kasi. He missed a little bit on that second one, but I'll be interested to see kind of how he works through this Zap lineup.
Ty Farwell now to the plate as that one misses for ball one. Hastings Sodbusters came into town today. Very nice charter bus. Wasn't your run-of-the-mill Winnebago, but the fun bit about it, their bus driver dropped them off on the road. Didn't pull into the parking lot, just said, get off, your stop's here, as the 1-0 in there to Farwell catches for strike one. And
well, I'm sure they enjoyed that trip down here on that nice coach bus.
had a long walk into the
Well, you know,
ballpark
he probably didn't want to make him walk through the heat from that parking lot all the way in right field.
1-1, swung on and missed there from Farwell for strike two. It was just fun watching their whole team flow in from the gates out on the street, and Bus found his parking spot out there.
I was a little nervous. I thought he was going to take my spot behind the broadcast booth.
Justin's precious spot. We might have to get a plaque made.
I was thinking about that today.
1-2 here to Farwell. Fouled off.
Then again, I thought about how long those signs lasted out there on the street, and that placard were probably gone before I could even make it back for the next home game.
That's a sensitive topic between me and Eli Lewis as the guys who had to go retrieve all those signs, put them up, retrieve them again, put them up, and then finally retrieve them.
Well, I hope for as long as they were out there, the folks driving by learned to honk for the Zap whenever they come by.
Honk, y'all. It's game day, baby. That was the original design as the 1-2 to Farwell. Swung on and missed for strike three. And I mentioned me and Eli Lewis going out there to put them up. It was actually Eli Lewis who designed those beautiful yard signs.
I was going to ask about that. We don't get many y'alls up here in South Dakota. Whenever I say it, people almost make fun of me, so I figured that would be Eli Lewis. Going down to Luke Cossey, the starter for the Sodbusters. He has got a great fastball, but an even more devastating off-speed pitch, something the Zap are going to have to prepare for today.
Lizzie to the plate. The offering misses high. Yeah, the first draft was between Honk It's Game Day and Honk Y'all It's Game Day. Our GM Alex Sheets went with the latter, Honk It's Game Day, as they were some beautiful signs, and me and Eli will certainly miss those as 1-0 turns 1-1.
Yeah, Palizzi did not like that call there from Dozark. Thought it might have been a little bit inside and off the plate, but as long as Dozark's consistent, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, it was certainly inside on Palizzi. The 1-1 now misses way outside for ball two. As Zap trying to get a base runner on. Hastings had 2 hits in the top of the first before stranding all of them. He walked the bases loaded with 1 away. Did not get anything as that one in there for strike two, and not sure Palizzi liked that one very much either.
Well, he's chatting with Dozark right now, something that is a frequent sight to see with batters and catchers and umpires all having a continued conversation. Just wants to know where that one caught the zone.
2-2 now. Swung on, fouled up towards the street, over towards the football field as Palizzi stays alive. It's Palizzi.
I see a fan down there jotting something down on their bingo card, so he must have been able to check a box or two within this at-bat.
As now the 2-2 to Palizzi. Swung on, fouled back, can't stay in the glove.
Just barely got a piece of that one. Those bingo cards are being sold all season long, and they're coming from the Pure Wildcats South Dakota Special Olympics team.
If you get a space that you don't like, take it up with me. Me and the interns, we were tasked with coming up with those as Palizzi gets out in that one, and that one rolls on through with a nice assist from the infield grass. put his bat out way out in front, chopped it up the middle, and took a weird skip through the infield grass.
I have no idea how Polizzi got his bat to that baseball. That thing was breaking down and away from him, and all he did was just reach out and just try to get some lumber on it to stay alive in the at-bat, and he ended up getting a base hit up the middle. Sometimes being aggressive pays off.
Clubbed that one back up, and it was skipping, and it hit the infield grass at the last possible moment, just rolled on through as it brings Goldberg to the plate. That one inside strike one, as Zap get a 2-out single on the back of Vince Polizzi. Bring up Goldberg to the plate. The right fielder here today has had a hot start to the season as he fouls Allen off for strike 2.
And going back to that top of the first, when Loera was on second base, that drive into right center field, Goldberg did a nice job deking out the runner, kept him at second, because if Loera had read that off the bat a little bit better, he would have certainly scored. So Goldberg saving a run for the Zap. Let's see if he can go +2 with a base hit here.
The 0-2 to Goldberg. Misses low for ball one. And Goldberg, not really known for his defensive prowess more so than his pop at the plate, but it was a very impressive fake out as he kept the runner at third. Would have been a very close play if they decided to send him, as the 1-2 with 2 away. Swung on, hit back towards center field. That one can't drop. A wonderful diving play from Hannaford, and that'll end the inning. Zap, strand one, can't get any across. We'll be back in the top of the second.
Support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Friday at 9 p.m. for a street dance with music by the Urbandale Lane Band. $5 cover. Then on Saturday, come enjoy a smoked roast beef sandwich, sweet corn, and potatoes starting at $5.30. $15 a plate. All located at the Highmore Fire Hall. The beef is donated by Willow Creek and Weidenbach Ranch. Please support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Saturday at 5:30. This invitation brought to you by Titan Machinery.
Here at the DRG Media Group, we know free, over-the-air radio works to get the word out. But we also know these days people consume information at different times of day and through a variety of different platforms. DRG Media Group's AM and FM radio stations, DRGnews.com website, and DRG News mobile app provide local news, sports, weather, area high school athletic events, music and entertainment news, and more. And thanks to our advertisers, it's available to you for free. But we want you to share information with us too by using the Contact Us feature on the DRGnews.com website or the DRG News mobile app. You can send us a request for advertising information, a news or sports item, a weather cancellation, and more. Fill in your information, select which type of inquiry you have, provide the relevant details, then click Submit. We make qualifying information available to the public using our various DRG Media Group platforms.
Top of the second inning here at Hyde Stadium. No score on a beautiful Monday afternoon. Hello, everybody. Justin Cowart welcoming you back into the broadcast booth. Easton Pratt back out on the bump for the Zap alongside Dylan Beach. Then we'll bring up Mr. Jaden Shabry, I believe. No, that looks like Zane Wilson down there in the left-handed batter's box. Easton Pratt delivers. That one misses down and in for ball one. Tell you, we've had some tough times picking up these jersey numbers. That 6 sure looks like an 8, and it still doesn't look like a 6 to me just yet. As that one's down and away for ball 2.
It took you saying 16 for me to realize it wasn't an 18.
I mean, it's close. You know, we have a tough time when the Zap wear their camouflage jerseys, because those blend in pretty good, and they don't have connecting numbers. As the 2-0 is delivered, swung on, fouled back into the fencing behind home plate.
Because Pratt on the mound is wearing 18, and when he turns and fires, it looks a lot like the 16 at the plate. Those block numbers just really jumbled in there. You don't see much of the gap between the parts of the 6.
Here's the 2-1 on the way from Pratt. That one's fouled away and into the street for strike 2. Count runs 2-2. The other thing, too, is we've got this protective netting that kind of plays a little bit of interference with the numbers. So when you're looking for, trying to find that little split, and I got to be honest, it still looks like an 8 to me, but we're going to just trust our lineup card here. as Easton looks to get an early out. 2-2 misses high, count runs full.
You can see just the faintest bit of white on the hook of the 6. Just barely cutting it off.
Some good-looking uniforms that the Sodbusters are repping out here today. 3-2, driven sharply down the right field line. For the left-handed hitter, he was way early on that. He turned on that so early it got over the Zap dugout and made its way out of play. And I see one of the members of the Pierre Wildcats team over there delivering a little coin. Looks like somebody might have won our bingo card here early. Here comes the 3-2 pitch from Easton Pratt. Swung on and missed for strike 3. And Zane Wilson goes down swinging. So a good start to the top of the second inning here for Easton Pratt. 1 down. And that'll bring up Weston Johnson, the Sodbusters catcher.
Yeah, it was a beautiful pitch there from Pratt to get one away. And got to get ahead in these counts, and did just that, now getting ahead in the inning.
Good fastball to get Zane Wilson down swinging. See if he can do some of the same here to Weston Johnson. Johnston takes ball 1 up and in. Johnston, a power hitter in that right-handed batter's box. He can really put a charge into one. Kind of your stereotypical catcher. As the 1-0 is driven sharply through the gap on the right side, and that'll find its way through a little seeing eye single. And Johnston is on with the first hit of this inning. Johnston's a stocky, very built player. Kind of reminds me of a Dan Ugla, and I know Dan Ugla's not a catcher, but that's just the body type. Big forearms, big piping muscles. Guy's got a lot of power there. Another guy that's got a lot of power is Cooper Harrell. So he steps into the left-handed batter's box. Pratt comes set, misses up high. And I know it's only been 1 1/3 inning for Easton Pratt. And maybe it's the heat, I don't know, but he just doesn't look like he was as comfortable as he was in that start against the Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a shaky start for Pratt. Maybe just needs some confidence back here.
Well, there's a confident fastball, swung on and missed by Harrell for strike 1.
A lot of guys, once you see them kind of get that first strikeout and you kind of get through your first good inning, you kind of see their shoulders drop. We just haven't seen that so far from Pratt.
See if he can find that confidence here in the top of the second inning. Really no wind to speak of as that one swung on and missed for strike 2. Another good fastball from Easton Pratt. You know, Andrew Luck, the great quarterback that played at Stanford and then had a great career in Indianapolis. I know that Dylan is a big Andrew Luck fan. One of the smartest quarterbacks. Always said that he needed to get hit to really settle into a football game. And sometimes maybe that pitcher needs the same thing. Maybe needs to escape a little damage or even experience a little damage before he can really settle in on the mound. Here comes the 1-2 from Easton Pratt. A long wait now delivers. That one misses high and away for ball 2.
The most unfortunate part about Luck is that he got hit too many times.
Yeah, maybe he was just trying to get too settled in and ended his career early.
Sent my Colts down a path of doom and despair since he retired.
Pratt comes set with the 2-2, not paying much attention to Johnston over there on first base. This one's fouled towards the left field side, giving chase, and Aiden Johnson under it, and he just barely runs out of room. Still looked like he could have made the play, but he was staring back into that bright sunlight, and he was coming up quickly on that hardwood lumber fence. That is a tough play to make. We just mentioned it. There's really not much wind to deal with, which is kind of an anomaly here in South Dakota. But Aiden Johnson unable to get his pitcher an extra out, so Easton Pratt will have to come back with the 2-2 again. This one is somehow gotten to in the top of the strike zone, lifted high towards shallow center field, and Gavin Frazier backpedaling camps underneath it, and that'll be the second out. Harrell swung that bat. That ball was about at his eyeballs, somehow got to that fastball, and you really can't get on top of a baseball when it's that high in the zone, so not a surprise to see that one popped up in the shallow part of center field.
Yeah, did just about everything he could just to make contact with that, and I still don't know how he did.
You got to tip your cap. He somehow got his bat around to that high fastball. That's one of the toughest pitches to get to for a hitter, is some high heat. It's one of the lowest percentage hit balls in the MLB, high fastballs, and now we got a hit batsman, and look at this, Jet Hannaford gonna fly down to first base.
Don't see that one too often.
No, you don't.
Showing some pride in getting hit by the pitch.
Well, that's, you know what, that's something that I think all coaches love to see. He's one of those guys, it seems like, that always runs out every ground ball, always runs out every pop fly, and Jet Hannaford is the kind of guy you want in your lineup. So he gives way back to the top to Christian Loera, who had a base hit to start things off for the Sodbusters. He's got 2 outs, but 2 runners on, and he takes ball 1 outside.
He was being true to his Jet name.
That's a great point. That is a great point. He jetted down to first base all right.
Got a friend named Jet. After the team, but not spelled like the plane at all, with an H in there.
Interesting. I've seen that name. Some very unique names that we find in the Midwest here, as that one's taken just a bit high for ball 2.
And such a poor soul was just gifted his football team at birth, and could have been named like Chief or one of those teams that he maybe could have, or maybe Patriot or something to root after. He had to have been named after the Jets.
I've met a Chief, but I haven't met a Patriot yet. Here comes the 2-0 from Easton Pratt. And that one misses high, and it's quickly 3-0. And now Easton Pratt is 1 ball away from getting into the exact same jam he found himself in the top of the first. Bases loaded. But we'll see if he can fight back against a good leadoff hitter in Christian Loera.
Loera, the beer batter tonight, so I'm sure the fans would love to see Pratt get back into this one and strike him out.
Here comes the 3-0. That one misses high and away, and that's a 4-pitch walk for Easton Pratt. So Jamie Habiger is up on the front step of that dugout, and he just signaled for Ty Farwell and Quinn Ludvigsen, along with some other Zap infielders, to go out and try to calm Easton Pratt down.
This is a battery we'll see a lot this year. Ty Farwell and Pratt already showing strong signs of a budding relationship. They were both in the Zap house for a little bit, and Pratt, I mean, I remember going back to just the first practice, Farwell catching some of his bullpen sessions, and you could kind of tell from the beginning he had great trust in his catcher, kind of asking him, like, how does that look coming in? Like, how does that look? Like, what should I change here? And it's already been a very successful battery for the Zap, as they've both off to a good start in their Zap career.
You can't really build relationships in games like you can't find your golf swing in the middle of a round. You've got to build those off the diamond in those late nights when you're hanging out playing Xbox in practice. And that's something that we've seen Farwell do with a couple different pitchers. That'll bring up Drew Vega, and that one misses low. A great stop from Ty Farwell behind the dish to keep the runner at bay at third base and keep the Sodbusters off the board. I've already seen Jamie Habiger make 1 trip out to the mound in the top of the first. We really don't want to see him make another. Players at every bag for the Sodbusters here with 2 outs. Easton Pratt with the 1-0 pitch. That one swung on and missed. Back to the basics with a good fastball right down the middle.
Yeah, it's hard to do, but got to ignore all those other runners out on the base paths and really just go attack here with 2 outs.
Well, it's always interesting. You see guys pay attention to base runners when there's runners on first and second, or second and third. And now they're going to try the pickoff attempt. Ludvigsen just barely able to get over to that one. He wasn't even covering the bag. I don't even know if Ludvigsen knew that Easton Pratt was going to try to pick off the runner. They tried that with runners on first and third in the top of the first. And a good defensive play over there by Quinn Ludvigsen. And made me eat my words just when I was saying they don't really pay attention to runners with bases loaded. Easton Pratt fired one over to first. So now back to Vega. Here's the 1-1. That one popped up on the infield. Giving chase is Pratt, as is Ludvigsen, and he makes the catch, hops over a sliding Quinn Ludvigsen, and makes the 3rd out of the inning. So for back-to-back innings, Easton Pratt loads the bases, but he gets out of the jam unscathed. We head to the bottom of the 2nd inning. No score here at Hyde Stadium. Zap coming up.
The summer is here, and you know what that means. The Oahe Zap are back, and we at DRG Media Group are bringing you coverage of every Zap home game all summer long. You can hear all the home Zap games on River 92.7, or you can watch them live on drgnews.com at the River 92.7 station page. The Zap are offering you fans something new every single night. So get out to Hyde Stadium for some Zap baseball this summer. Purchase your tickets on oahezap.com or buy them at the box office. If you can't make it to the game, we've got you covered on River 92.7 Oahe Zap Baseball, brought to you by DRG Media Group.
Pretty impressive play there made by the Zap starting pitcher, Easton Pratt, who had to do a little hurdle work of over sliding Quinn Ludvigsen coming over from first base. And you rarely see a baseball play made like a play on a soccer pitch, but that's exactly what we just had there.
Yeah, I thought we were going to lose our starting pitcher to a red card slide tackle there from Ludvigsen. Pratt was trying to call him off, and Ludvigsen just kept going, and we were lucky we didn't have a collision there.
Well, normally on plays on the infield, on popped up, plays like we just saw there, it's really up to the first baseman to come in and call everybody off. That is not the pitcher's play to make. That's the first baseman. You get a guy in Easton Pratt who's got 2 outs, second inning back-to-back where he's loaded the bases. All he wanted to do was get out of that inning there, and that's why you saw him charging so hard after that foul ball. And I think that's also why you saw Quinn Ludvigsen coming over so quickly, because that's his play to make. But Easton Pratt took charge. Quinn Ludvigsen doing a nice job sliding underneath Easton Pratt. And you talked about the camaraderie and the relationship built between Farwell and Easton Pratt. Seems like he and Ludvigsen have a pretty good working relationship, knowing where each other were on the diamond there after that play.
Yeah, college teammates, and certainly have had a nice relationship. We see them with the pickoffs all the time over the first base, and they've been an impressive pair here for the Zap this season.
Well, you heard there in the break, Zap have something new for you every single night. Tonight, $10% off all merchandise bought here at the ballpark.
Sloppy Joe night, too. One night only, Sloppy Joe's.
I think we might have to ring Alex Sheets and do a broadcaster test of those Sloppy Joes as the first pitch to Aiden Johnson is swung on and missed for strike 1. We had the Pretzels the other night against Spearfish in that series, and boy, those blew us away.
We're both wearing white shirts tonight. I'm not sure the Sloppy Joes is the review we need.
That one missed outside for ball 1. I don't know if you've taken a good peek at this one. My dog's gotten pretty comfortable with this T-shirt, so I don't think a Sloppy Joe could do much damage to it. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Aiden Johnson. That one catches a piece of the zone. Strike 2.
Aiden Johnson out in Spearfish. The PA guy was having some trouble with his name. Saw the I as an L. He was Alden Johnson for a few games out there.
I'm curious how often Aiden's gotten that one before. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, driven sharply to left field. Giving chase is Zane Wilson, and he's going to run out of room. Aiden Johnson hammers one over the left field fence, and the Zapper out in front 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning.
I've got deja vu. That one looked just like his first homer of the year.
Well, that one was put on a line shot. Didn't get really above the netting here in the eye line of where we sit, but a really good swing from Aiden Johnson. And now we'll see if the Zap can break the curse of the winless home run games, as they have put a lot of balls over the fence this season, but I don't think they've gotten a win yet with a home run yet.
Still haven't, because they homered in that loss yesterday too. Ludvigsen, he was the guy, he pitched in that game. He was providing his own run support. He was out on the mound while he was still hitting, and he put a deep shot out in Spearfish last night.
And we'll see if he can put another one out here right on cue. He took ball 1, and now we'll take strike 1. Good pitch there from Luke Causey. You know, when Aiden hit that one, I thought that might get down for a base hit. That just kept continuing to travel. Good take by Ludvigsen. Wanted to swing at that off-speed pitch, but let it travel out of the zone. 2-1 is the count.
And it was just absolutely roped. I mean, just a line just kept going and just never lost its height.
No, it did not. That just gives a little tip of the cap to the power that Aiden Johnson possesses. Big swing by Ludvigsen, wanting to go back-to-back. And he just missed that one. Count runs 2-2.
Yeah, he was just really swinging out of his shoes there.
If he had made contact, that one would have traveled a long way. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Causey. Off-speed pitch falls in perfectly for strike 3. Quinn Ludvigsen really not arguing that call, just looking back in disbelief at how much that pitch actually moved. That's the best curveball we've seen out of Luke Causey here today.
Yeah, just got him just looking there. Just was a beautiful, beautiful pitch.
Froze him right there. So Causey showing off a little bit of his stuff, getting back at the Zap after that Johnson home run. And that'll bring up Alex Jackson. And now he puts a charge into one, but this one's going to travel foul. Over the first base side, bounces off the concourse. Puts a scuff into that baseball. Alex got the first hit against Tristan Agadal in that no-hit bid. He actually broke up the perfect game bid. Zap couldn't do anything with that, but in the following inning is when they really got to Agadal, so you can credit Jackson with getting the momentum going as he takes a strike on the outside corner. And Jackson couldn't believe that one, neither could the many Zap fans who made their way to the ballpark here tonight. Good crowd on hand. I see a couple Sodbusters players actually taken in the game over in general admission. This one grounded sharply towards the third base side, cutting it off his cross, firing to first. What a play from Brock Cross, pinwheeling on the infield, losing his ball cap in the process, but firing a dart over to first base and getting Alex Jackson by a step.
Yeah, that was a real pretty play.
That sure was. Brock Cross had to cover a lot of ground to get to that ground ball. And they always say if the third baseman can get to it, it's his ball. We've seen a couple kind of learning some of those plays you learn really at the small ball level. As this one misses low for ball one to Caden Bazanski. They always say if the third baseman can get to it, it's his ball to play. And a wonderful play made by Brock Cross to get the second out of the inning. The 1-0 pitch is bounced in there for ball two.
And Jackson just a second too late there from legging out that single.
2 outs here. Zap lead 1-0 in the bottom of the second. Caden Bazanski at the plate. And he takes that one outside. It's 3-0. Zap have been very good with 2 outs on the offensive side here at Hyde Stadium. It's almost like that's where all of their good work comes from. A lot of their production comes with 2 outs. Bazanski taking all the way for strike one.
I mean, we saw it the other night with the Ludvigsen grand slam. 3 payoff pitches with 2 outs, and on the third one he puts it over the scoreboard.
Here's the 3-1 to Bazanski. That one's fouled off into Capitol Avenue. And you know, the other thing about that may go underappreciated was that Naruto Saito patient at bat with 2 outs.
And he had to foul off a couple hard pitches in that at bat too.
He got behind 0-2, worked it all the way back, and was able to get a walk and rolled out the red carpet for Ludvigsen to hit that grand slam. That one misses low, and Bazanski draws the full count walk. So maybe a little bit of 2-out magic working as the bottom of the lineup brought up by Emiliano Curiel.
Talk about patience there from Bazanski. Got out 3-0. It got back to a full count, and then still patient enough to watch that one on in, draw the walk. It's been an impressive start to his day after that play he made out in the first.
So we'll see if Curiel can keep this inning going. Zap got their 1 run off that Aiden Johnson rope shot over the left field wall. They've now got Bazanski on first. Luke Causey comes set, and now going to fire over to first, and backsliding is Bazanski. I always love watching left-handed pitchers and their pickoff attempt moves. They've got such an advantage over the right-handed pitchers because they can make it look like they're coming to the plate, as the first pitch to Curiel is in there for strike one. But even past that, even the pickoff attempt is a form of art for a left-handed pitcher. You've got to try to fool that runner into thinking you're going home. As Causey sends one in, Curiel flies this one to right field. Underneath it is Vega, challenged a bit by some wind that came across, but he's able to stick his right hand out and make the play for the third out. But Aiden Johnson gets the Zap on the board with a home run over the left field wall. They lead 1-0. We head to the top of the third inning here at Hyde Stadium.
Looking for happenings in Central South Dakota? The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce Community Calendar is your go-to for all the latest events. From entertainment to local benefits, community activities, and more, there's something for everyone. Email your event to contactchamber@pierre.org and it will be listed on the weekly calendar. To view the calendar, go to www.pierre.org. Let's celebrate together in the heart of South Dakota. The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce, connecting our community one event at a time.
Doing a little spring cleaning at your house? I'm Val Keller, City of Pierre's Solid Waste Manager, letting you know the City Supply Swap program can help. We'll recycle cleaning supplies, paint, and other household chemicals you don't want anymore. Plus, you're free to take any products other people dropped off for recycling. The swap program helps our customers and keeps things out of our landfill. Supplies we accept include stains and sealers, pesticides, pool chemicals, typical cleaning agents, as well as oil-based paint, latex paint, and spray paint. For additional information, call 605-773-7434. Again, that's 773-7434 for more information about recycling your household supplies and paint. Let the City of Pierre help you get your home and garage cleared out and cleaned up for the summer months.
This public service message is brought to you by the radio stations of the DRG Media Group in Pierre.
Back here for the top of the third in beautiful Hyde Stadium. The Zap out to a 1-0 lead on the back of Aiden Johnson, his second of the year.
And that was a great swing by Aiden Johnson. They just stayed with that fastball by Causey, who was really firing it in, but, you know, it's when you're a hitter, if you can catch up to a fast fastball like that and get your bat on it, good things will happen. And we got to wait for play to start here because we had one of our very exciting and popular mid-inning games, one that we haven't seen yet this year at Hyde Stadium. The, what do they call that, the Jersey game?
Yeah, the Jersey race, I believe. Racing to get those jerseys on.
You got two contestants that have to put on a full Zap uniform out of a bag. And that's I think that's something those kids probably practice more in the school year. When you wake up late, you got to get out quickly to catch the bus, so some experience there.
Easton Pratt in there for strike one, and Johnson really swinging out of his shoes. He was swinging for Zimbabwe on that last homer. Was just hit on a rope, and it just never lost its height like we kind of expected it to, as that one swung on, fouled back for strike two.
Yeah, that was... He was going to have to lift a couple more weights to get one that far, but one over the wall, that'll do. No matter where it lands, as long as it's on the other side of the outfield wall, that works for the Zap.
As Pratt, the 0-2 here. This is high for ball one, and kind of see some of the instructions from Farwell behind the plate, just a testament to that relationship, kind of telling, hey, maybe this is where you missed there.
Well, I think that's more of a, I'll let you call this pitch, but that one misses down and away. Nice stop by Farwell. I think that was more of Farwell saying, good miss there. That's, you know, an 0-2 count. You don't want to throw anything too good to hit. So a fastball up in the zone that's out of the strike zone. See if he'll chase. I think Farwell was just kind of saying, you know, tipping his cap.
The 2-2 runs inside, catches the batter.
And now the umpire's going to say, no, they're going to say that Shabry turned into that one. And Farwell and Easton Pratt both at the same time were up challenging that. Now the umpires are going to have a conversation about this one. Shabry can't believe it, but Easton Pratt was adamant that he maybe leaned into that pitch a little bit, which if you turn and wear the pitch naturally, the umpires are going to give it to you. Now they're going to award him first base. So Dylan Turner and Chris Dozart getting together and deciding against, and I think that's a good call. I don't think that there was any intention by Shabry to try to, you know, catch a free base there. I think that was just a fastball up and in by Easton Pratt. However, I've never seen Easton Pratt that animated about a pitch like that before. So a tough call by the umpires, but I think they made the right decision there.
Unlike the umps, I have access to watch back our YouTube stream on my laptop, and I didn't see anything too obvious to indicate he leaned into that one as the bunt fouled off for strike one. Pratt was unable to get out of that 2-strike count. Lead off, hit by pitch there.
And that's just such a tough way to get out of an at-bat. When you get ahead 0-2, you make a good miss on the 0-2 pitch to make it 1-2, and then you just award him a free base with no outs. That's tough.
Pick off over to first, trying to get that out now, not in time. Pratt's made his way out of 2 bases loaded jams in this one. I'm not sure how many more jams he can navigate. The pitch count is certainly getting higher, as that one swung on a miss for strike one.
And I wonder if Ryan Jarvis is a Bryce Harper fan. He's already a left-handed hitter. He dons the number 34, and he's got a wide stance like Harper. Often see a lot of these guys emulate some of their heroes. And Bryce Harper, as much damage as he's done to my Atlanta Braves, not a bad guy to emulate.
Certainly been one of the best players we've seen in a long time in the league, as that one misses outside for ball 2.
I will say, I hope I don't see anybody doing the Juan Soto shuffle in that left-handed batter's box this season.
I really hope we don't see the Soto shuffle. That's one of the things that I don't like seeing make its way down. I think it's kind of weird when some other kids do it, but the pickoff over to Ludwigson, not in time again, so trying to keep that runner honest.
Yeah, they're paying a lot of attention to Shabry over there at first base. It's got me thinking that this is a guy who is willing to take a couple swipes of second base. We'll see if he runs here. They're going to try it again, and they got him.
That was a beautiful pickoff. Second time in a row. The third time's the charm there on Shabry, and was showing off that chemistry between Pratt and Ludwigson. You get him on the second one in a row.
Well, all that with the hit batsman, the conversation between the umpires, they didn't give him first base, and then they did. And then they're able to get him with the pickoff.
All don't lie, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
As that one runs in and catches the very next batter.
And that one was more of a lean-in than the first one was, but I think
Caught him on the...
I think Ryan Jarvis was just willing to let that one travel into the knee. He really didn't have to get out of the way of that.
Yeah, that is just funny timing after we had that whole fiasco. You get him on the pickoff, and the very next batter gets hit. As we'll have, that was maybe the dress rehearsal. We'll see how many pickoffs it takes to get the runner this time. As Pratt agrees on the pitch, the 0-0 misses outside for ball 1. As Zap trying to settle in here today, protect this lead. Up 1-0 here early. One away here in the top of the third. As Easton Pratt sets, fires, swung on. This is a double play chance. Johnson to second. Bazanski over to Ludwigson. Not in time. Just was a step behind there from getting out of the inning. Bazanski was pulled a bit closer off his bag than he probably would have liked to really set and get all his power on that one to first base.
Well, that's a tough play for any second baseman to make when you're coming across the bag, fielding that throw from third. And, you know, the most important out was made. Get the lead runner. And it wasn't a really sharply hit ball to Aiden Johnson. He kind of had to backtrack and make sure he played it on the right bounce. But a good out nonetheless, and now they got two of them.
You get the lead runner, 2 away, as Pratt quickly fires for strike 1. As Sodbusters trying to get a bit of a 2-out rally of their own. We've seen the Zap do it multitude of times. As the 0-1 now from Pratt. Sets, fires, swung on. That one gets just narrow of that right field line for a foul ball. So close to sneaking in.
Well, at first, when he hit that, I thought that is down for a base hit, and with 2 outs, you've already got the runner on the move. And you had to watch that one the entirety of the way. That was so close that whoever painted these lines, had he just been looking down at his phone texting or something and gone a little bit offline and made that not as straight as it is, that would have touched some chalk. I mean, that's how close that was to staying fair.
Yeah, would have needed a nice banana curve in the straight white chalk. As that one slapped back the other way, Jackson giving chase. Frazier slides and makes the play. Shortstop Frazier getting on his horse there. 3 outs there for Pratt. We'll be back here at the bottom of the third.
Thinking of travel, Pierre Regional Airport offers non-stop flights to Denver. Starting August 1st, book your destination at United.com. With United Mileage Plus, you can save more by earning miles when you fly from Pierre Regional Airport. 1-hour flights to Denver and the world beyond. Avoid the crowds, avoid the drive, and enjoy free parking when you fly from Pierre Regional Airport. United Airlines in Pierre starting August 1st. Skip the drive. Fly from Pierre.
We're good at making excuses for things we don't want to do.
I can't work late because my cat has a job interview.
Unfortunately, we're also good at making excuses for things we shouldn't do, like driving drunk.
There's nothing on the back roads but cows.
The truth is, there's no good reason to drink and drive. Not even if you stick to the back roads. If you drink, don't drive. No excuses. Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
If you're interested in becoming a valued sponsor of an Oahe Zap broadcast, you can contact us for more information at sports@dakotaradiogroup.com or call us at 605-224-8686.
Hey Zap baseball fans, it's Justin Cowart. If you're interested in a podcast that's sports and only sports, you need to check out Players Perspective. I have athletes and coaches from the South Dakota area and across the country, from the high school all the way up to the professional level. Come on and tell stories of their biggest and best moments of their athletic careers. If it's sports, you bet we cover it on Players Perspective Podcast, sponsored by Avera. You can find it wherever you find podcasts by searching DRG Media Group or on drgnews.com. Now, back to myself and Dylan Beach in the broadcast booth for some more Zap Baseball.
Thank you for that lovely ad, as usual, Justin. Maybe a potential future episode, the Ponciano Player's Perspective, as he won maybe the greatest standoff we've ever seen.
Yeah, you know, he's already a guy that you want to talk to in general, but after that standoff between himself and the Sasquatch player that went viral, and we'll get to that here in a moment as Causey's coming set.
This is outside to Frazier. Frazier into the last inning and now leads off the bottom of the third. But a definite viral moment. And I have to think our mics peaking, because we had them just a bit too loud that day, definitely helped out.
Well, it was funny because that one misses inside for ball 2. It was funny. That video, we'll explain. AJ Ponciano has a very viral TikTok account that's got some 10,000 followers. There's the 2-0. Misses outside for ball 3. And he posted that video of himself winning the standoff. Now, this was not your average standoff, and if you haven't seen a standoff before, after the national anthem, two players might stay put on those first and third base lines to see who's going to give up first, who's going to head back to their dugout before the other.
Frazier heading the count 3-0. That one misses for ball 4.
He might try to take second. They don't know where the ball is. There goes Frazier, and he's going to get second base. What a heads-up play from Gavin Frazier.
That was tremendous.
Weston Johnston had no idea where that pitch had gone from. It missed inside. They thought it might have hit Gavin Frazier, and it scooted away from Weston Johnston, and he was still turning around, couldn't find the ball, and immediately Gavin Frazier turned, saw that ball scooting towards the first base dugout side behind home plate, and he was off and running the second he left the batter's box. And he knew that he could take second because Johnston still could not find that baseball. And a really heads-up play there from Gavin Frazier. That is massive. That, if the Zap could bring him across on a base hit, I know it's early, but that could possibly play a huge role in this ballgame. So a nice play by Frazier, and with a mound visit, we'll continue our discussion about that standoff. So you get these two guys standing on first and third, and often you'll see umpires start to get very frustrated, saying, guys, get off the field so we can start the game. Richard Gilmore, he took a different approach. He said, you know what, we're going to play ball whether you guys are standing there or not. And they did. And so after the first foul ball, Ponciano and that Sasquatch player still standing there, and the Sasquatch player said, I've had enough, I'm getting off, and Ponciano won it. And he put that on his TikTok account, and it made its way across all these viral platforms. It came across my Facebook page with about 250,000 views.
Pickoff, trying to get Frazier there at second. And it was certainly a great moment. I got to talk to Richard Gilmore after the game, and he was like, I knew one of them was going to cave, so I just started. He started it off, and he told me, I bet you loved that one. And I was like,
man.
You're right, because I
right.
did love that one. It was a tremendous moment in the broadcast. As
I would love to know from Richard Gilmore's perspective, a guy who's been umpiring baseball for 30-plus years, if he has ever had a scenario play out like that.
I can't imagine there's been too many standoffs like that in baseball. As Farwell at the plate, swings on and misses that one for strike one. Frazier getting walked and reaching second on a ball that Johnston couldn't find. That ball was lost for a long time. He was about to call Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Machine to come find that one, as he just couldn't find it. It was lost back in the dirt. He looked around everywhere, and the one place he didn't look was in his blind spot over his right shoulder, and Frazier took advantage of it as he's going to try to swipe third. In there in time, skips off, and now he's going to try to take home. He's stolen every base this inning, Gavin Frazier.
You know, we've seen a lot of rare instances on this ball field here. I don't think I've ever seen a runner steal first, and then second, and then third, and then home. I mean, that was unbelievable by Gavin Frazier. The heads-up running there. My goodness, that's got to be some kind of record. You know, we talked about shortest home runs. I would love to know if there's ever, I'm sure there has been, but never seen it in a Zap uniform. A guy steal first, second, third, and home.
The 1-1 to Frazier runs inside, to Farwell. Frazier just lightning in a bottle. We've seen him take home this year out in Casper, but there he got the walk to first, took second in the same motion, and then took third and home in the next play.
Well, he had second base on his mind the second that he left that right-handed batter's box. So, you know, we kind of have to say that he did feel like he definitely stole first and second, but he might have been feeling himself. I would love to know if Jamie Habiger gave him the steal sign from second to third, but you could just tell with those happy feet, he was taking it no matter what.
Just amazing there as that one runs inside for ball one to Polizzi. So now you got one across, nobody out. You got Farwell at first, despite being a catcher, not afraid to swipe some bags. See if he goes in motion here. The 1-0 to Polizzi. Swung on, belted. That one going to get down in the gap. See if Farwell, he keeps running into third, sliding. Polizzi going to get caught in the rundown. Some aggressive base running. They're going to try to send Farwell home and try to get a run here, but might be able to get out of both rundowns. Keeps sending the runners as Farwell's caught in one here. Going to have to slide around the pitcher, not there, and not the base running you want there for the Zap.
Well, that was just helter-skelter all over the place. You had Farwell take third, and a nice play by Christian Loera at shortstop, who I thought that throw from Jet Hannaford in center field was going to make its way to third in time to get Farwell, but a heads-up play by Loera cutting that off, seeing Polizzi in between first and second, and then you had Ty Farwell trying to bite off more than he could chew, stealing home, but just all around picture perfect, and a great job there by the Hastings Sodbusters to kind of, we've seen just about everything so far, and we're only here in the bottom of the third inning.
This would have been a great night for baseball bingo. I mean, a lot of crazy plays in this one, as there were some ones that I put on there in the hard category that I didn't know if we'd see all season. And I feel like we've had a couple just in this inning and game alone, just odd occurrences.
Well, that's why you show up to Zap baseball games. You might see something you've never seen on a diamond before.
As was ultimately pretty much a sacrifice bunt as Goldberg puts a high fly ball towards the right field line. Polizzi going to stay put at second. And nobody on, Farwell at first. And after all of that, they end up with Polizzi on second. So it was practically a sacrifice bunt in the end, but with quickly now 2 away, brings Aiden Johnson to the plate. Homered his last time up, and the last time he homered, he walked 5 straight times, so we'll see if he gets another chance to swing the bat here.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. They saw more than they wanted to see of Aiden Johnson's bat. They were not going to challenge him after all of that and his last home run. We'll see how quickly they want to get to the fastballs with Johnson here.
As Johnson in here for ball one. Saw Polizzi get started in this inning. as Aiden Johnson trying to get another homer here as that one high and up. As just had a visit from the GM, Alex Sheets, and a request from a fan to get the standoff kid, AJ Ponciano, in the booth. Maybe we'll have to try to get him in here eventually, get his perspective on that standoff this year.
Well, if we can get Ponciano on a day off, we've got an extra headset if he wants to tell his side of the story.
As Johnson swinging for the fences there for strike one.
Yeah, he had homer number 2 on his mind at that swing.
As we got the 2-1 here. Ponciano did pitch recently, so we'll maybe see if we can pull some strings, maybe try to get him up here tonight. As Johnson at the plate, the runner on second, swung on and missed again for strike 2. This is a very different Aiden Johnson than we saw the last time he hit that home run. He's really going for 2 in a row here, but if it's anything like some previous at-bats, will likely settle in here. Maybe saw a couple of pitches he thought he could get to, but now the count even at 2 apiece. Zap would love to get that second run across with 2 away. That one in there. Aiden Johnson goes down looking. Zap get 1 across on the electric play from Gavin Frazier. We'll be right back for the top of the 4th.
Looking for happenings in Central South Dakota? The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce Community Calendar is your go-to for all the latest events. From entertainment to local benefits, community activities, and more, there's something for everyone. Email your event to contactchamber@pierre.org and it will be listed on the weekly calendar. To view the calendar, go to www.pierre.org. Let's celebrate together in the heart of South Dakota. The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce, connecting our community one event at a time.
Doing a little spring cleaning at your house? I'm Val Keller, City of Pierre's Solid Waste Manager, letting you know the City Supply Swap program can help. We'll recycle cleaning supplies, paint, and other household chemicals you don't want anymore. Plus, you're free to take any products other people dropped off for recycling. The swap program helps our customers and keeps things out of our landfill. Supplies we accept include stains and sealers, pesticides, pool chemicals, typical cleaning agents, as well as oil-based paint, latex paint, and spray paint. For additional information, call 605-773-7434. Again, that's 773-7434 for more information about recycling your household supplies and paint. Let the City of Pierre help you get your home and garage cleared out and cleaned up for the summer months.
This public service message is brought to you by the radio stations of the DRG Media Group in Pierre.
2-0 lead here for the Zap as we head to the top of the 4th inning. One of the most popular mid-inning games just took place down there right in front of the Zap dugout. Tug of war time with a couple of Zap players mixed in with some of our younger Zap fans. And can't even limit it to Zap players. We saw head coach Jamie Habiger get in on the fun there in between the inning break, between the bottom of the 3rd and the top of the 4th. And we've got our DRG Media Group trivia question here for you at the top of the 4th. Who is the only pitcher to throw a perfect game in the World Series? No, it feels like it might have happened recently, but you're going to have to go a couple years back. Easton Pratt back to work. That one misses way high and inside.
It's like the AI paper checkers. We will know if you cheat.
Absolutely. No chat GPTing or whatever the kids are using nowadays to get through school. Weston Johnston swings and misses at strike 1. You know, Weston got a really bad break on that Gavin Frazier play where he was able to get second on the passed ball. Johnson was kind of blocked out by home plate umpire Chris Dozark. Couldn't really find where that ball had scuttled away to. As that one misses high for ball 2. He was doing 360s and spinning around like a hula hoop back there behind the dish trying to find that ball, but you know, it's not Chris Dozark's job to really get out of the way. As that one misses, hits off the outreached shin guard of Ty Farwell, and quickly 3-1 to Johnston. Giving away some of last year's souvenir cups for free here at the ballpark. The first 250 fans got one as this one swung on, fouled back into the mid of Farwell, and the count runs full. And I don't see any cups left. We've got a great crowd here tonight. Got a Braves fan down there rocking a Hank Aaron jersey and a throwback Braves ball cap. As that one is in there for strike 3, looking perfectly placed. Fastball in the outside corner sends Will Johnston back to the dugout. Weston Johnston. Either way, he's still struck out, and he is going to go find some pine. That'll bring up Cooper Harrell.
We got a couple of good jerseys just right next to each other in the crowd. The Hank Aaron jersey and then the Yordan Alvarez. It's one of the, I think that's the Astro City Connect, maybe?
That one is just a bit outside for ball 1. And maybe, besides the Hank Aaron jersey, of course, Hammer and Hank, one of my favorite Braves players of all time, fouled away by Harrell into the street. In there for strike 2. The helmet line of Harrell for ball 2. Well, it's no secret what Alex Sheets, the first-year general manager, is trying to do. He's trying to make this all about community. As this one skips across the shoelaces of Cooper Harrell, and now again another full count.
Just about jumped into that one.
He did, but he was actually trying to jump out of the way, and that one was so far inside, almost caught him. The 3-2 pitch drilled over the top of the head of Caden Bazanski and down for a base hit. So good, patient at bat for Cooper Harrell comes to fruition with a single. And that'll bring up the bottom of the lineup, Jet Hannaford, who made an outstanding diving play in center field earlier in this ball game. But it's kind of been overshadowed by some of the strangest plays we've seen on the diamond. We saw about a 30-throw pickle between 2 runners that caught Ty Farwell and Vince Palizzi with the Sodbusters as he turns to bunt. Now they might have Harrell in a rundown. Nice pick by Bazanski. Pickle is on. Throw back to first, and Harrell is tagged out. So the squeeze bunt by Jet Hannaford did not pay off. He couldn't get any contact on it, and it caught Cooper Harrell right in between first and second. Harrell's caught slapping his helmet in disgust. But a nice play there. Really nice play by Caden Bazanski. The throw came from Farwell on one hop, and an incredibly tough pick to make. And Caden Bazanski got it, and with a real calm demeanor, was able to just fire it back to Quinn Ludvigsen. It was interesting. In that play, it seemed like time stopped for a moment as everybody kind of looked around on the infield like, okay, what are we going to do next, boys? And Bazanski very calmly fired it over to Quinn Ludvigsen for the second out of the inning. So Hannaford will stay in the right-handed batter's box, takes ball 2.
Second really great heads-up play that Bazanski's made here today.
That one will find its way into the strike zone. Good fastball from Pratt. Yeah, good to see Bazanski holding his head high. Had a tough play in that Sasquatch series, but he's bounced back nicely. Really important player for this Zap ball club as that one is swung on and missed for strike 2. As Easton Pratt feels like he's settled into this ball game after the top of the first and the top of the second yielded 2 bases-loaded situations. He got out of both of them without giving up any runs. And now he's looking to go 1, 2, 3 in a very odd fashion here in the top of the 4th. That one fouled back into the netting behind home plate. We'll do the 2-2-2 all over again.
And Pratt, he's had a few Ks here, kind of relaxing in, try to extend this day out. He's got the run support despite his team being out hit right now. And
as that one misses outside, count runs full. And again, we talked about it in our pregame, but this is a start that Easton Pratt and really Jamie Habiger would love to see go deeper than just 4 innings, or maybe even 5 innings. Of course, his pitch count with those first 2 innings is starting to run on the higher side, but the 3-2 pitch here is taken for strike 3. So Easton Pratt retires the side with a great breaking ball to get strike number 3, and we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Zap still in front, 2-0, and we'll be back right after this.
Things in life you can't control. Your in-laws just bought a new house right next door. Construction is behind schedule, so you have to detour to work again. That car next to you just lost control and swerved into your lane. Things in life you can control. Wearing your seatbelt. In South Dakota, over 55% of those who die in a car crash aren't buckled up. Control what you can. Always wear your seatbelt.
Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Dunes Golf is celebrating their 30th anniversary this summer. They look forward to seeing old friends and new acquaintances on the driving range and on the course throughout the summer. Play 9 or 18 holes, pay by the round, save with a punch card, or become a member for unlimited play. Dunes Golf is a great location for group outings or a summer play day. Call 605-223-2525 or see golfdunes.com. Just 1 mile north of Fort Pierre on Highway 1806. Dunes Golf.
Get ready, Central South Dakota. Oahe Days in Pierre is back, June 20th and 21st at Steamboat Park.
It's the annual music and arts festival you don't want to miss. Live music, amazing food, local vendors, carnival rides, a beer garden, and so much more.
Friday night, it's 90s party band, the Mallrats.
And Saturday, country fans, Struggle Jennings takes the stage.
The 3 bands each night start at 5 p.m.
Grab the full lineup and details now at oahedays.com.
If you're interested in becoming a valued sponsor of an Oahe Zap broadcast, you can contact us for more information at sports@dakotaradiogroup.com or call us at 605-224-8686.
Bottom of the 4th inning here as the Zap lead 2-0. And that'll bring up Quinn Ludvigsen to the plate for the Oahe Zap. Been a lot of oddities here in this ball game thus far as Ludvigsen takes ball 1 down and in. And we've got a special treat for you folks. We've got Mr. A.J. Ponciano, who's enjoying his off day ahead of 3 more off days, joining us as Luke Causey wants a new baseball as he's going to settle in here. And A.J., welcome up to the booth. A little bit different look up here than the dugout.
Oh yeah, great view here at Ice Stadium.
As Causey with the 1-0 count. Takes ball 2 way down in. Ludvigsen kicking a little bit of dirt as Jamie Habiger quickly out of the Zap dugout. I don't know what he was doing. He was not over there on the third base side. But AJ, thanks for joining us. We're going to get to ask you a couple questions. There's one main thing that I think we all want to know about here. We'll get to that in the inning break. As Ludvigsen waits on the 2-0, checks his swing, takes strike 1. But one thing I think we do want to know, it's got to be very exciting. You guys are playing 8 games in 8 days here, and you got to be looking forward to having a couple days off to kind of get yourselves reset and look forward as that one misses low for ball 3.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, 8 games in 8 days is kind of tough. Pitching staff, a lot of guys had to extend out a little bit longer than I think a lot of people were expecting in this time, but I think we did pretty well at it. One of the things I was really proud about with our team is just how much we competed, especially early on in the counts.
That 3-1 pitch catches the strike zone. Ludvigsen was on his way down to first, but the count will run full. And you guys got a lot of your road games out of the way early. You got to be looking forward to playing a lot of your ball here at Hyde Stadium here in the coming weeks.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, this crowd's great every night. The kids being around, families coming out.
This one's grounded sharply to the shortstop. Nice play by Loera. Fires to first, and the outstretched reach by Ryan Jarvis is in time. And that's the first out of the inning. Sorry, we don't want to cut you off, but we still got a ball game to call here, AJ. You understand. But talk a little bit about your time in Pierre here, how the community's kind of rallied around you, because Alex Sheets, the GM, has been very adamant. This is a community-first type of ball club. He wants to put on a great product on the field, but also to let the fans enjoy the ball game too.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, with all the promotions that are going on, all of the stuff going on, especially on Instagram that I see, all the posting, the innings update, everything's been great. I mean, like you said, big thing with the community that I know with my host family and a lot of other host families that we have, guys just kind of are able to go to anyone's house anytime. There's always food. There's always something there if you need it.
That's got to be the toughest thing for these host families, is keeping you guys fed. Count runs 1-1 as the train makes its way across right center field. There's the pitch. That one's down in the dirt. And AJ, we've seen you out on the mound. You've thrown some pretty good outings. How's the arm feeling?
It's feeling good. It was 5 innings last time I was out here. Solid outing. I mean, got to face a lot of my old teammates over there.
As this one is ripped down the left field line, and that is going to touch chalk and stay fair. Rounding first and heading for second is Alex Jackson, and he's got a 1-out double. My, oh my. That one just barely stayed, and shortstop Christian Loera with his hands up in the air wondering how they called that ball fair. And I think a lot of Sodbusters want to know, including their head coach who makes his way out to have a chat with the umpires. Perfect time to keep talking with AJ. You know, one thing we were curious about, you know, it's early in the season, but we're starting to get into the meat of the season here. Not a lot of guys going super deep into their outings. Is that coach just trying to save arms, trying to feel out who belongs where he wants to throw guys?
I think it's a little bit of that. I think mainly just trying to find guys that are fit in the right situations. Some guys work a lot better when they pitch maybe 2 games in a row and then have a couple days off. Some guys need a little bit more time. So I think it's just more just trying to, we have more of those building blocks. We kind of know and have a general idea of what guy needs for what, for like rest time and coming back. So I think since we got a lot of that out of the way, and this big stretch kind of showed really about who needs what.
AJ, you're like a lot of guys in this league, here to kind of improve over the summer, but you're also kind of looking for a new home. How have you kind of been balancing maybe getting recruited by some of these teams with this long season?
I mean, big thing for me has been posting on like Instagram, some things, but mainly like Twitter or X. That's the main thing there, just reaching out to coaches through that. Being able to post a video from all the outings, which is great, especially being able to have coaches reach out to you and all that. It's just a great way.
So you're posting a lot about your play on the mound and out in the field, but you're also posting about maybe one of the most intense standoffs we've seen against you and a Spearfish player, so much so that Richard Gilmore, home plate umpire, allowed play to go on. You ended up winning that standoff, but what was going through your mind when you saw that starting pitcher fire that first pitch and you're standing only about 40 feet away?
Yeah, so I think it was Easton on the mound for that game, and I was lefty up. I was like, just please don't throw a slider. I don't want him to be early and just pull a ball. I was fully expecting to get one right in the middle of the back, though.
Well, you're a pretty popular guy on TikTok. You got something like, what, 10,000 followers now?
Oh, I wish. I think I'm maybe under 1,000.
Well, maybe we can get that a little bit higher. You got to go check. Go ahead and plug yourself. Where can they find you on TikTok and social media?
I believe TikTok is AJ Ponciano12. And then Instagram is aj.ponciano12.
All right, there we go, folks. And I got to tell you, that video made it across my feed, but it wasn't your account. Somebody siphoned that video from you, and it's got about 250,000 views from that one account alone. So what you guys did out there was definitely getting to a lot of people. There was mixed reviews on it. I think some of the older-fashioned ball fans were thinking, how could this be going on? But, boy, was that fun to watch. As we've got a new pitcher on the mound here for the Hastings Sodbusters. It's Chase Phillips who's coming to the game. So a lot happening there in that last play. It was the double by Alex Jackson. Caden Bazanski takes strike one.
Yeah, and I got to ask you, you had a teammate out with you on the first baseline, Hudson Ivey. Do you have any words for him as he bailed on you early?
Not during it, but on the way back in, I definitely looked at him. I was like, you're really just going to leave me out there? I mean, if anything, I was protecting him if a ball was hit towards us.
I mean, he was off in a hurry because there was 3 of you out there, you, Hudson, and then the Sasquatch player. And Sasquatch player dipped out after Hudson, but it wasn't a good showing from Hudson.
Caden Bazanski goes down on 3 pitches. Looking good start there for Chase Phillips, but yeah, I have to imagine the conversation not only with Ivy but with the rest of your teammates was pretty interesting when you made it back to the dugout.
Yeah, no, it was definitely fun because the Sasquatch player is actually one of my old teammates.
Okay, we were wondering where that connection came in to where you two guys. Now, here, let me call this pitcher. I do have a question about how this whole thing formulated. That wasn't the only time we've seen a standoff in that series. As now with 2 outs, this one's driven up the middle, off the mid of Phillips, going to bounce softly, firing to first, and in time by Loera. What a play that was to get the 3rd out, as Emiliano Curiel almost found one sneak its way through into center field. We're going to stay right here with AJ and continue talking to him about not only the standoff but the season. But we were curious, as you can see AJ here on our broadcast cam. You know, AJ, you talked about how that was one of your teammates. Is a standoff something that just formulates in itself when it comes together on the field, or do you guys talk about that before the game?
I think it's just kind of in the moment. I mean, I definitely wasn't thinking about, oh, yeah, I'm going to stay out here for the standoff. It just kind of happened. Looked down the line, saw one of my old teammates, and was like, I can't let him win. I mean, he's been one of the guys I've been really close with over there, and I was, like I said, I just couldn't let him win.
Now, did you guys talk about that standoff after it happened, after the game was over? Were you guys texting back and forth? Were you getting your kudos points with him?
A little bit. I mean, I didn't want to be like confrontational or anything, but like a little playful banter back and forth.
Yeah, you still had 3 games to see them on the road. You didn't want to get anybody hit, I'm sure. But, we talked a little bit about the season. We're still in the early going. It's been a tough start for you guys. You guys have gotten ahead in some games, but teams have been able to come back and bite you on the back end of innings. But what is it about this team that it seems like you can get down, but you're never out? And we saw that against Tristan Augudal. You guys carried a perfect game bid into the 5th inning, and then boom, you found something after that Jamie Habiger speech, and you guys got rolling.
Yeah, I think it's more of just the wanting to play for each other. I think there's times, obviously, some of us are still in the transfer portal looking for homes, and I think a lot of us forget that it's a team game. I definitely feel that at times where it's like I pay attention way too much about like the stats and what's going on instead of just going on winning. And I think it's one of those things that once we come together, it's like, all right, let's go win a game here.
And it's a pretty interesting playoff format because you can have a tough first half of the season, but then really get things going in the second half and still find your way into the postseason. What's the vibe with this team right now as you guys start to creep into the middle part and really have a lot of games here at home that you can take advantage of?
Yeah, I think getting those road games away decently early is one of the big things. Being able to just be home, be around each other. When you're in a hotel, you're only limited to so much time. Yeah, you're with each other, but you're in the hotel and you're just trying to rest. When you're home, you don't have to worry about the 6-hour bus drive one way and playing a game that day. And once you get back to the hotel, you want to just fall asleep, and you're asleep until 10 o'clock. You don't have much time to get ready before you're out to the field again. But when we're at home, like I said before, you get to go to each other's host families. You get to spend more time with each other.
And AJ, it was something I've kind of asked a couple of guys this year. I asked Coach about it. We got a decent crowd here tonight, but what's kind of your message to the fans, the people of Pierre, to get them out to the ballpark?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I think this Heights Stadium is one of the best that we've been to. Just kind of everything to go around. It's right in the middle of town. It's just fun to be out here. I just saw my host family on the way walking up here. And it's just great to see them. I mean, everyone has smiles on their faces. Everyone's enjoying the game. Very interactive also. I mean, out there on the mound, if you're doing well, you're hearing the crowd. If you're doing bad, you're hearing the crowd. So I just like how noisy it is, how much people are just into the game.
Well, the fans love their Zap baseball, that's for sure. As Pratt has got a 2-2 count here in the top of the 5th inning, and this one's fouled back. Well, AJ, we don't want to keep you too long from your teammates. Thanks for coming up and joining us. We got to get you on an episode of Players Perspective sometime. Come by the station. We'll dive into a little bit deeper about this whole standoff thing and where this all stems from.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks so much, AJ. As I'll hand it back off to Dylan Beach with the 2-2 pitch, strike number 3.
Pleasure as always having a special guest in the booth, and Easton Pratt there working quickly, getting the first strikeout of the inning. And Pratt settling in nicely here today as we say goodbye to the so great A.J. Ponciano. He's had a good start to his Zap tenure as he'll get back to the dugout.
Nice kid that A.J. Ponciano is.
As that one misses for ball 1, and any college coaches listening out there, hit him up a little bit. He's looking to play some college ball next year in a different place. We're on the phone with a couple of coaches. He was on the phone at the car wash as that one misses outside for ball 2.
Well, you hear about kids being on social media and trying to use that platform, and you get this kind of biased perspective on them. He is completely different than what you would think somebody trying to get a large social media presence would be like. He's just a very down-to-earth, very polite, and very kind kid. I think any coach would be happy to have him on their roster.
As that one in there for strike 1. We've seen Alex Jackson. He's got a pretty big TikTok following as that one swung on and missed for strike 2. And it's kind of the new trend in baseball is kind of trying to build up your presence online. As players becoming ever so more like celebrities in the era of NIL. As that one swung on and missed, the tag from Farwell. Back-to-back Ks here to start the 5th for Easton Pratt.
I'll tell you what, Easton Pratt has settled in very nicely after getting into a couple jams early. He's just found a rhythm, found a groove. And he's working quickly and making his way through this Sodbuster lineup with some ease.
Pratt in there for strike 1, and he is pitching effectively, mowing down the sod. As maybe a bit of a dictionary lesson here, that one in there for ball 1. As counts 1-1, scoreboard reads 2-0. As the batter gonna get a quick time, so maybe a bit of a perfect place for this. The Sodbusters I was kind of confused on what a Sodbuster was at the start of the season, as that one runs inside and catches the batter. The 2-0 goes sour for Pratt. A Sodbuster, I looked it up, is just anyone who breaks sod, so technically just a farmer at the end of the day. So the Sodbusters, the farmers of Nebraska, I mean, it does make sense. All their teams feel like they have farm names in this league. You got the Moo, Sodbusters, so you really get the omnivore aspect of it. You get the meat and grains, as Easton Pratt here checks on the runner at first. We saw the successful pickoff. I think the first successful pickoff of the year for the Zap.
You really don't see those too often. We saw Naruto Saito get picked off, but that was from a throwdown from the Sasquatch catcher when that took place. Really got to catch a guy leaning to get him on the pickoff attempt from the pitcher.
It was an impressive move, as we have kind of talked about it this year, the advantage that lefties have. You can really check on that runner and fire it over, but Pratt, the righty, having to maybe trust in what he hears from his first baseman Ludvigsen, and really fired over a nice one, and Ludvigsen put the good tag in on the second consecutive pickoff, and that attempt, as that one misses outside for ball 2. And a lot of chemistry in this group, especially this infield. I mean, the battery between Pratt and Farwell, the college teammates at pitcher and first base between Ludvigsen and Pratt, and then this middle infield that's turned so many double plays in this young season. As Pratt behind in the count, gets set, rocks a few times, and fires the 2-0. Misses off speed. He's had a couple of 4-pitch walks in this game. 2 away here, behind in the count 3-0.
And I was curious when we'd see somebody up and moving around in the Zap bullpen, and that looks like the time is now. Maybe Pratt getting into this 5th inning, and with a couple long innings running out of gas.
3-0, runs high and inside, walks the runner on with 2 away. Runners on first and second. Leave the guy warming up in the pen. It is so hard to tell, just going off kind of his pitching motion and kind of from what I can see of his face, I believe it's Wyatt Gladue warming up.
And Wyatt had an outstanding outing against the Sasquatch. Came in some damage control and did a really nice job to keep the Zap in that ball game.
2 away. Runners on first and second. Farwell going to call for time after that one missed low, and now seeing Josh Porter out there in the bullpen with him reinforces the fact that I think it's Wyatt Gladue, the Fullerton College teammates, as Farwell going to try to settle in Pratt. That one missed low, was a nice play from the backstop there. Ty Farwell from keeping that one from getting behind him.
And if you're Jamie Habiger here, 5 straight balls from your starter, and the last thing you want to do is ruin a really good outing by letting a guy go a bit too long.
He's got 2 away here, just trying to get out of this inning, get the Zap bats back to the plate. 2 runs scored on very polar opposite plays. Aiden Frazier, I'm mixing the 2 players into one, the 2 scorers. Aiden Johnson hitting the homer, and then Gavin Frazier stealing just about every base in the play, as Pratt behind in the count 2-0. Checking on the runner at second. Wines deals. Off speed's in there for strike 1.
And I think that he was taken all the way. Easton Pratt showed a little bit of inability to find the strike zone, so I wouldn't be surprised if Brock Cross just got the take sign the whole way until Pratt delivered a strike.
As Pratt trying to fight back here with 2 away. The 2-1 in there for strike 2, and the crowd knew it. Crowd just trying to will Easton Pratt out of this inning. Has been so good at getting out of jams here, trying to make it out of the top of the 5th. Runners on first and second. The 2-2-2. Misses outside. Make the count full. As
got a couple fans standing on their feet here too. You know, they're I think wanting Easton to get out of this inning as badly as Easton wants to get out of this inning.
And Pratt trying to make his way out of this jam. Get back to that dugout, see if he goes again for the 6th, but with the Ladue warming up would be unlikely as that one belted towards left. Jackson chasing, running out of room, and that one sneaks out. A go-ahead 3-run shot for Brock Cross.
And that's what you're talking about. You got Easton Pratt just really at the end of the line of his pitching outing. You saw him struggle in the top of the first and struggle in the top of the second, and while he was able to get out of those jams, never really felt like he found a rhythm. And then he got into the 3rd and the 4th, and you started to feel like, okay, maybe he's settling in, but that pitch count running high, and Jamie Habiger maybe letting him go for one too many batters.
Yeah, and after a good outing, that's just the last thing you want to see, and just like that, the Sodbusters out in front reminding you why they're the first-place team in the ILB. They can strike at any point, and Pratt had really been making good work of them so far in this game as he's going to stay out there to face the next batter.
Yeah, maybe Habiger saying, all right, well, letting him face a little bit of adversity. Stay out there on the mound when you're in a bad mood, when you've given up a play like that, a home run with 2 runners on and 2 outs. Maybe see if Easton can learn a little something about himself here.
As he's in there for strike 1, and that's where we started to see him struggle, is when he wasn't getting those first pitch strikes and quickly out ahead, and maybe the bases cleared now, giving a chance for White Ladue to warm up a bit more. You get the whole bottom of the 5th to keep stretching out as that one missed for ball 1. But it's not what you want for Pratt there, as he's been just oh so good this season. But a 3-run shot giving the Sodbusters the lead, as that one swung on and missed for Zane Wilson. A controversial number 16 just because of how close that looks to the 18 that's also in the lineup today. DH Jaden Shabry wearing 18 and Zane Wilson wearing 16. Just so close to looking the same as the 0-2 here from Pratt. Misses outside. Maybe a good waste pitch there.
Yeah, Farwell might have liked that waste pitch. I don't think Easton Pratt did. He did not look too happy with himself missing that high and away.
As Pratt trying to get out of the 5th. That one runs in behind the batter, catches him, and a 2-strike count. One place you can't miss, as the runner will take his base.
And that'll be it for Easton Pratt. Jamie Habiger has made the signal down to the bullpen. And Easton, not the outing he wanted, not the way he wanted to finish, giving up that 3-run home run. But a good outing nonetheless. I think he faced a lot of adversity, put himself in some tough situations, but he found his way out of those. And a well-deserved round of applause as he makes his way back to his own team.
Pratt gets the round of applause, as he had a good day going until the Washington State commit Brock Cross got to him.
Yeah, and I think Brock Cross saw that breaking ball in the 2-0 count and told himself, if he throws that again, I'm going to be all over it. And he sure was. A home run very similar to the one that Aiden Johnson hit in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Just barely creeping up over the fence, just not really convincing all the way that it was going to get over, as I was incorrect about the pitcher warming up. It's a left-hander, just not the one that I had picked out. It is Bryce Van de Wastein, the ultimate competitor.
I knew it was when he heel clicked crossing the foul line coming in from the dugout in right field, or excuse me, from the bullpen in right field.
Signature move, and he plays baseball with such joy. And for any Ted Lasso watchers out there, it really reminds you of a Danny Rojas, a guy who's just football is life to Danny Rojas, and I truly believe that baseball is life to Bryce Van de Wastein. As it might not be fully, as he is a great bowler on his college bowling team as well.
Well, I think if you put Bryce Van de Wastein and Brian Oakland, who sung our national anthem together on a bowling team, I don't know too many duos that could beat those two. But you go back to the joy that you talked about Van de Wastein playing the game of baseball with. Another thing that coaches look for, they look for guys that just love to be at the ballpark, love to be with their teammates, and love to just pitch in wherever they can. And he's a guy that plays with such a fervent pace that it can almost, come to a disadvantage at sometimes. We saw he was in a jam and he got the ground ball he needed right back to himself, but wasn't able to field it cleanly because he was just so amped to get out of that inning. But you can't fault him. You take the bad with as much good as you get from Bryce Van de Wastein, a kid that's just going to give it 110% no matter what the score is.
As Bryce Van de Wastein at Clark University out of Erie, Illinois, doing a bit of research into his bowling career, finding a very, very young Bryce Van de Wastein from the 2020 bowling season. He does look pretty similar to him. He has definitely had a lot of growing up in the last 5 years.
That's the ones you stay away from at the lanes that were on a bowling team in their younger years. Those kids can really spin it. You got to be careful out here. There's a lot of great bowlers in South Dakota, especially in Pierre, and it shouldn't come as a shock to many people. We can hardly do anything outdoors for 5 months out of the season, so most folks spend their time at the bowling alley.
I went one day after work to Lariat Lanes, bowled a few games by myself. I was maybe expecting a few people there, but it was middle of the week. It was probably a Tuesday or Wednesday, so probably not the most popular bowling hours, but I checked out Lariat Lanes, a real nice place.
Any hour is a popular bowling alley in Pierre.
As that one fouled off for strike one, Bryce Van de Wastein gets the task of getting out of the top of the fifth. A 3-run frame for the Sodbusters. They lead the Oahe Zap 3-2 after the 3-run shot from Rock Cross.
You talk about that joy and that passion. He's got some dirt on his jersey. That came from the tug-of-war contest earlier on in the game when he went down to his back after pulling off the win.
As that one shot, Mazanski fields it, throws to Ludvigsen, and the Zap get out of the inning. But the damage was done. The Sodbusters jump out on a 3-run homer to retake the lead. The Oahe Zap trail 3-2. We'll be right back here in the bottom of the fifth.
Support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Friday at 9 p.m. for a street dance with music by the Urbandale Lane Band. $5 cover. Then on Saturday, come enjoy a smoked roast beef sandwich, sweet corn, and potatoes starting at $5.30. $15 a plate. All located at the Highmore Fire Hall. The beef is donated by Willow Creek and Weidenbach Ranch. Please support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Saturday at 5:30. This invitation brought to you by Titan Machinery.
Here at the DRG Media Group, we know free, over-the-air radio works to get the word out. But we also know these days people consume information at different times of day and through a variety of different platforms. DRG Media Group's AM and FM radio stations, DRGnews.com website, and DRG News mobile app provide local news, sports, weather, area high school athletic events, music and entertainment news, and more. And thanks to our advertisers, it's available to you for free. But we want you to share information with us, too. By using the Contact Us feature on the DRGnews.com website or the DRG News mobile app, you can send us a request for advertising information, a news or sports item, a weather cancellation, and more. Fill in your information, select which type of inquiry you have, provide the relevant details, then click Submit. We make qualifying information available to the public using our various DRG Media Group platforms.
As we are back here at beautiful Hyatt Stadium for the bottom of the fifth, where the first time tonight the Oahe Zap trail. They trail 3-2. They need some more heroics from the leadoff Gavin Frazier. Saw him do maybe one of the most improbable plays we've ever seen. He got walked to first. Catcher couldn't find the ball, so he stole second and then tried to steal third. The ball got away, and then he stole home.
But that all came from Gavin Frazier being heads up and taking first base with the thought of having second base stolen in his mind the second he left the batter's box. You'll see a lot of guys just loaf it down to first and not take advantage. Gavin Frazier, not one of those plays.
As that one misses outside for ball one, and I originally thought he was maybe doing his Jet Hannaford impression, running to first base as fast as he could, maybe bit of trash talk back to the Sodbusters, as they've done that a couple of times, but they've been hit tonight as Frazier swings on that one for strike one. But there was a method there as he just legged it out to second as he is quickly behind swinging 1 and 2.
That was a late swing there, too, from Gavin Frazier. I'm wondering if he was expecting an off-speed pitch from Phillips. We'll see what he gets here.
Chase Phillips, the 1-2, misses high. As Gavin Frazier not afraid to chop some off and take some pitches to try to fight back in the count as he goes down checking there. Nice start there for Chase Phillips on the mound.
Frazier knew that one right away. As quickly as he made it to second base earlier, is quickly making his way to the dugout. Perfectly placed pitch from Chase Phillips. Got him looking, and there was no question about that one. He knew he was out.
Yeah, he was kind of guessing on that one. Tried to check at it, but would have been in a veil as that one misses low to the very tall Ty Frazier. As Ty Farwell, I keep getting Gavin Frazier. That play has not left my head.
As many blender plays as we've had today, I don't blame you for getting a little bit mixed up.
That one's fouled off for strike one, and I think between just all of the crazy plays we've had at the ballpark, and there's a lot of names that are kind of similar. I mean, it's not Ty Frazier, it is Ty Farwell. They're both Canadian, too, so that might play into my hand as Ty Farwell's mom's been in town. She was one of the Zap fans who traveled out to spearfish with us.
She's a big Edmonton Oilers fan. I was actually shocked to see her at the ballpark on the night of such a big game last week.
1-1 to Farwell, misses outside, and she's always really easy to catch. She brings that jersey along when they play, and oftentimes it'll be worn around the hips, kind of tied off as she's talking with our intern Jandy Green over there. As Farwell swings on and misses for strike two there.
And let's be honest, this is not really the type of year you want to be wearing a hockey sweater outdoors.
That is certainly the truth, as she was part of a small Zap cheer block that included all of us interns. As the 2-2 to Farwell, swung on and missed for strike three. Out in Spearfish, we had the cheer block of myself, my fellow interns, our bus driver, Braxton Plemons' mom, and then Ty Farwell's mom. So we were a small but mighty bunch. I was afraid our producer, Eli Lewis, was going to get kicked out for chirping umpires out in Spearfish, but he never crossed the line. We did see an ejection, but it was Coach Skelton as that one runs in on Vince Palizzi. First ejection of the year. Coach Skelton did not like a lot of the strike calls in one of the games out there, and to his credit, as a fan, I didn't like a bunch of them either, as that one in there for strike one. But he'd gotten a warning earlier in the game and then got his first real warning from the umpire, and as the 1-1 swung on there from Palizzi, and the warning from the umpire did not discourage him at all. He just kept going, blew right through the warning, got his money's worth, and got ejected. As Palizzi pushes one back the other way, just foul. As saw Palizzi kind of put his bat out on one that got up the middle earlier and not able to touch the chalk like Alex Jackson did on his double earlier.
Well, a nice job by Palizzi staying alive in that at bat, just throwing the bat out at the ball and wanting to stay alive, defending the strike zone. He'll live to see another pitch.
As that one runs high and inside for ball two. And Coach Skelton certainly got his money's worth, was not allowed to coach the next day. We saw him kind of roaming the grandstand as Palizzi chops that one to the third baseman across the diamond in time. Zap unable to answer. The 3-run frame Hastings put up. They still trail 3-2. We'll be right back for the top of the sixth.
Looking for happenings in Central South Dakota? The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce Community Calendar is your go-to for all the latest events. From entertainment to local benefits, community activities, and more, there's something for everyone. Email your event to contactchamber@pierre.org and it will be listed on the weekly calendar. To view the calendar, go to www.pierre.org. Let's celebrate together in the heart of South Dakota. The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce, connecting our community one event at a time.
Doing a little spring cleaning at your house? I'm Val Keller, City of Pierre's Solid Waste Manager, letting you know the City Supply Swap program can help. We'll recycle cleaning supplies, paint, and other household chemicals you don't want anymore. Plus, you're free to take any products other people dropped off for recycling. The swap program helps our customers and keeps things out of our landfill. Supplies we accept include stains and sealers, pesticides, pool chemicals, typical cleaning agents, as well as oil-based paint, latex paint, and spray paint. For additional information, call 605-773-7434. Again, that's 773-7434 for more information about recycling your household supplies and paint. Let the City of Pierre help you get your home and garage cleared out and cleaned up for the summer months.
This public service message is brought to you by the radio stations of the DRG Media Group in Pierre.
We head to the top of the 6th inning. Zap trailing by 1. Bryce Vander Wastein trying to keep it that way. We welcome you back into the broadcast booth here at Hyde Stadium. 3-2 ball game on a gorgeous night in central South Dakota. 80 degrees, but a cool 80. No breeze to speak of. Sun setting back behind the first base side. And you couldn't ask for a more beautiful backdrop. Justin Coward alongside Dylan Beach welcoming you back. As Vander Wastein continuing to get loose. And we heard a little bit about that trip out to Spearfish. And you guys got to get into some pretty interesting stuff. You went to see Mount Rushmore, but you also did something pretty interesting called the Sasquatch 400, I believe.
Yeah, it was a nice time out in Spearfish, and probably one of the most regrettable things we did was agree to one of their interns to be in a game, and we were like, oh, it can't be anything too crazy. It's going off the games that we have. But
thinking tug of war or bucket toss?
Thinking we might have been in on a fun game, maybe able to win a prize at the ballpark. But no, they tell us we're in the Sasquatch 400. They bring out these containers. They had a Chewbacca, a Yeti. They had a couple of their other mascot costumes too, and 4 of our male interns ran it out.
As Vander Wastein gets set, first pitch of the inning to Cooper Harrell is clipped off the neck of the bat. Tried to check his swing. Didn't even really offer a swing, but the ball was kind of in on the inner half of the strike zone and caught it right where the pine tar rests for strike number 1. And you know, we were talking about that Oilers jersey that Ty Farwell's mother wears from time to time out in the heat. As that one is swung on and missed. What a great off-speed pitch from Vander Wastein for strike number 2. I think you'd take wearing that Oilers jersey in 93-degree heat than you would wearing that Sasquatch outfit out in Spearfish and having to run around the ballpark. Here's the 0-2 from Vander Wastein to Harrell. That one is chopped right over the head. Charging is Bazansky, firing to first, not in time. There is no way that anybody could have beaten out the speedy Cooper Harrell making his way down the first baseline. That was just a perfectly placed little Baltimore hop right off the bat of Cooper Harrell, and just like that, the Sodbusters have got a runner on first.
Yeah, just about an impossible play to make there, and I definitely think I would take a hockey jersey because I could see in a hockey jersey. I'd be hot, but those masks you could not see in, you couldn't breathe in, and it was very, very toasty that night in Spearfish.
As Vander Wastein comes set, bunt is on. They're going to try to fire down to first. No, he's going to eat that one as they almost caught Cooper Harrell off the first base bag. Jet Hannaford couldn't connect on the pitch for the bunt. And, you know, I hate to say it there, buddy, but I think you kind of walked into that one when the opposing team came up and asked all the interns if you guys wanted to participate in an inning game.
They were so kind to us, though. They were great hosts, and they lured us in with their hospitality.
Here's the 0-1 from Vander Wastein. Turns to bunt again. That one's going to be perfectly placed, and now Farwell's going to grab it, and that is not going to be thrown. I think Farwell was waiting for that one to possibly travel foul, as it was. You couldn't place a bunt any more perfect than Hannaford just did. From the batter's box, it went down the third baseline with such slow pace and perfectly placed that Farwell could have fielded it and made the throw down to Ludvigsen at first. But instead he rolled the dice, tried to gamble, see if it would roll foul. But it just continued traveling fair up the third baseline, and now with nobody out, the Sodbusters have runners on first and third, and we'll see here if Christian Loera wants to try to turn and bunt. Quinn Ludvigsen certainly thinks he might, as he is about 25 feet off that first base bag. That one's in there for strike 1. No bunt shown by Loera, but a bunch of signs coming from that third base coach. Nobody out. 3-2 ball game. Hastings out in front. Vander Wastein standing in the only shadow on the ballpark. That one's blocked by Farwell down in the dirt. I should say there is some shadow around home plate. When we talk about it, it seems like every time we've got some sunlight here late in the ball game. And it just creates such a tough predicament for hitters to pick up that ball out of the pitcher's hand. Ludvigsen still on the skirt of the grass out at first base. The 1-1 from Van de Wastein. Catches a bottom part of the zone for strike 2. I think to a Ty Farwell or maybe a Tristan Algadal, that's a ball, but Christian Loera, not the tallest player in that lineup, gets the disadvantage of a low strike call. 1-2 from Van de Wastein on the way. He takes a quick peek back at Harrell. This one fouled up our way. That's going to take a bounce right over the Blackstone Grill.
Going back to the Sasquatch 400, before we drop it, I have to mention, I did not get last place in that race. We had our 4 male interns, Eli Lewis, Brooks Cartwright, myself, and Jack Pates, and I got 3rd.
So you are the second to lose, is what you're saying. As this one is driven into left field. Oncoming is Jackson. Looking into the sunlight, he's got it. Could be a double play at second, but backsliding in time is Cooper Harrell. Boy, was that a close play. Jackson had all the momentum coming in from left field. So he had some extra oomph on that throw, but Harrell doing a nice job diving back into second base. I think he was a little bit far for that Sodbusters coaching staff's liking, but he gets back safely. That's the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Drew Vega. Looks like some of the Sodbusters are making their initial meetings with the South Dakota flies and mosquitoes that we have so many of here, as first pitch from Van de Wastein finds its way into the strike zone for strike 1.
Me and Eli Lewis picked up those signs. I thought they were going to drag us off the side of the road.
They are relentless and powerful. As Vega takes one outside for ball 1. That pitch looked good there, Dylan.
I certainly thought it was close.
Those mosquitoes are often referred to as the South Dakota state bird, as everybody's got an encounter with them. Here's the 1-1 from Van de Wastein. Swung on and missed. Good off-speed pitch gets Vega swinging. So the count runs 1-2. Van de Wastein pumped up, catching that throwback from Ty Farwell. How big would a strikeout be here with 1 out and runners on first and second?
I just know if he gets out of this jam, the celebration is going to be incredible.
Van de Wastein, one of the more animated players in this Zap roster, and there are a few characters, that's for sure. Here's the 1-2, and that just misses. Van de Wastein wanted that one. He cannot believe it. Chris Dozark letting that one, I guess, sail a little bit inside. Our home plate umpire not giving him the call. Counts 2-2.
Bryce Van de Wastein can feel like he's maybe thrown 4 strikes at this at-bat.
Absolutely. He's been painting those corners, just not getting the calls. Here's the 2-2 from Van de Wastein. Swung on and missed, and that's through the wickets. Did he foul that one off? We're going to get Dozark. He's going to call that ball dead. So maybe a little bit of a fortuitous play here for the Zap. They're going to say that Vega, now that some time has settled in, Dozark and Dylan Turner, our field umpire, are going to get together and have a quick chat. This is not the first time these two have gotten together, and they're going to say foul ball. So that might work in the Zap's favor for Van de Wastein. He's shaking his head. He can't believe it. He wanted the strikeout. But what that would have done is put runners on second and third for the Sodbusters. And in a game where you really can't afford to give up a lot of offense, that keeps force outs at every base. So we'll do the 2-2 again. Van de Wastein delivers, and he gets a ground ball. Could be 2. To second for 1, and Bazanski to first for the second. Not in time. A nice pick from Ludvigsen. And Gavin Frazier and Caden Bazanski still trying to figure out that double play toss and fire to first. But that'll be the second out of the inning. Runners at first and third. And had that been a strikeout, well, who knows what that could have led to.
Zansky just left it a bit short on the thrower to first, couldn't fire it over in time.
Maybe didn't get the best handle on the ball. Ludvigsen stopping that ball, preventing a run, as that one's fouled off the fists by Jaden Shabry. My goodness. Had he not made contact with that ball, it might have hit him in the stomach. That ball was well inside. Not really sure how he... That's some quick hands by Shabry there to get that bat through the zone and make contact with that pitch. Here's the 0-1. Van de Wastein going to fire to first. Vega was back in plenty of time. Van de Wastein telegraphed that throw over to first just a bit.
It wasn't the greatest poker face by his part.
That's right. And that's one of those things we've been talking about with these left-handed hurlers trying to pick off players at first. Here's the pitch. It's grounded sharply to the right side, and Bazanski was shading up the middle, and he was unable to get to it in time, so the Sodbusters add another run. And making his way all the way to third is Vega, and Shabry gets an RBI. It's 4-2, Sodbusters lead.
It's a bit unfortunate there not to have been able to turn that double play, and just like that, the Sodbusters get an extra insurance run.
That's the 6th hit of the ball game for Hastings. And they're just able to play a little bit of small ball. We have seen a home run tonight. That's the 3 of the 4 runs came from for Hastings. And that'll bring up Ryan Jarvis. And Wastein going to fire over to first. Shabry not biting on that one either. Back in plenty of time. 2 outs here for Van de Wastein, trying to limit the damage. That's what's important here for the Zap. You can give up runs, but just keep the game close. And now Van de Wastein wants to have a chat with Ty Farwell.
And it's been so impressive, the Sodbuster team. 19 of their 29 players, freshmen or incoming freshmen, and just how mature they are as a group. I mean, really fighting back. They were down. They've had a nice rally here to take a 2-run lead.
And that says a lot about their head coach, Josh Printer. And
very young man himself.
Yeah, a lot about their assistant coaches, Corey Coranda, Andy Chase, and Tyler Welch. So after the meeting is commenced from Van de Wastein and Farwell, Van de Wastein gets back to work, and he just misses a bit high for ball 1. I think Ty Farwell wanted that strike call from Chris Dozark. Didn't get it. Well, the only thing you could ask for on a perfect night for baseball like this is a Zap comeback. We'll see if they can get to it in the bottom of the 6th, but they got to get out of it here as that one's fouled through the legs of Ryan Jarvis. Kind of went over the top of that off-speed pitch and just barely caught the bottom of the barrel on it, creating that trajectory. Naruto Saito, who's not playing here today yet, we should say, happy to get up off the bench, stretch those legs out a little bit and get to that foul ball.
Got a nice pair of shades on today.
A lot of shades out at the ballpark. We saw a lot of them in that Sasquatch game, which was overcast, but all the players wearing them on the hat. There goes the runner. Throw down to second is not in time, but they're going to try to get the runner coming home, and they're not going to do it. They're going to fire back down to second, and he's back standing safely. So Farwell trying to pick off the runner, and Gavin Frazier stepping in front of the throw. Maybe Ty Farwell probably should have eaten that one, as Vega was happy to see that one go down to second. He stole home no problem.
And they've done that play before. They've rehearsed it before, and just unable to get the throw back in time with 2 away and 2 strikes. You just got to eat that one.
Yep, not really sure the thought process on that play. That's a high risk, medium reward play, I would say.
Yeah,
not
2
really.
strikes.
Yeah, not really in the position to trade a run for an out here. As that one swung on and missed, and there is strike 3. So that'll end the inning, but the Sodbusters bring 2 across. Zap will try to chip away at this lead when we come back here for the bottom of the 6th. It's 5-2, Sodbusters lead. Zap coming up right after this.
The summer is here, and you know what that means. The Oahe Zap are back, and we at DRG Media Group are bringing you coverage of every Zap home game all summer long. You can hear all the home Zap games on River 92.7, or you can watch them live on drgnews.com at the River 92.7 station page. The Zap are offering you fans something new every single night, so get out to Hyde Stadium for some Zap baseball this summer. Purchase your tickets on oahezap.com or buy them at the box office. If you can't make it to the game, We've got you covered on River 92.7 Oahe Zap Baseball, brought to you by DRG Media Group.
Zap trailing 5-2. I want to welcome you in if you're listening on River 92.7 or watching on the Oahe Zap YouTube. We got one of our biggest crowds of the night online here this evening. I want to welcome you in. It is an absolutely perfect night for baseball. Tell you what, the baseball gods, well, they wanted to have some fun on Monday night here, as did plenty of Zap fans. And well, we're so glad you're joining us, whether you're joining us through the radio airwaves, online, or here at the ballpark. We've got 3 days off, and then we begin a very long homestand. Dylan, you and I are good friends already, but we're going to get to know each other quite a bit here over the next couple weeks. I think we got a stretch of about, 8 games or 10 games in 11 days, something like that. Got a little bit of a break, and then we get right back to it when July kicks in.
There are going to be a lot of games. We're going to have to think of a lot of trivia questions. We still don't have a trivia answer. We're supposed to be revealing that pretty soon. First person to get it right, I'll give you a very crisp high five if we see it at the ballpark.
How could you turn that down? And you know
I give pretty good high fives.
It's a tough one. Again, the trivia question was, who was the first and only pitcher to throw a perfect game in the World Series?
I'll even let you trade the high five for a hearty handshake if that's more your speed.
High fives or handshakes, however you want it. I have to imagine that our comment section's going to light up after that one. Zap back to work here. Chase Phillips still on the mound for the Hastings Sodbusters, and why not? Because he is throwing a gem right now here in relief. And boy, does Phillips work quickly. Connor Goldberg fouls that one off and right over into the netting above some Sodbusters fans who are also players. You know, it was interesting. I've yet to see this. We saw some Hastings players taking in the ball game outside of the dugout. They were sitting in general admission with the fans, giving some high fives, signing some autographs, as this one's fouled back into the fencing behind home plate. And you know, AJ Ponciano wasn't lying. This is, you know, you guys have gotten to see it on the road a little bit. This is probably one of the most welcoming venues for a baseball game. As Goldberg's quickly behind 0-2. He fouls that one off our way.
But might have been some trouble there.
Well, I got the good spot today. It's got to be a really high and hard hit foul ball to get the trajectory up to fall right into the old 2009 Tacoma. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That one up and away. Good take by Goldberg. But you know, this is just such a beautiful ballpark. We've got the great setting back across on the other side of the Missouri River with the rolling hills. Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Good off-speed pitch by Chase Phillips. Sends Goldberg down swinging for the first out of the bottom of the 6th. But, you know, we occasionally get the train rolling by, which we did back in the, I believe, the 4th inning. And you just get a great setting here as the sun continues to go down. Lights have been on since the 1st inning, but really coming into effect here as the game continues on. That'll give way here for Aiden Johnson, who's got one of the 2 Zap runs. He did it on a homer as he takes ball 1.
I will say the train conductor must not have been a Sodbuster fan, because he did not lay on the horn like they did the other night.
That one catches the bottom of the zone for strike 1. I think Bryce Van de Wastein and Easton Pratt are sitting in the dugout wondering where that call was when they were on the bump. 1-1, grounded sharply to shortstop. Fielding is Loera, firing to first. Pick play beautifully done by Ryan Jarvis at first.
As that was a beautiful play. We've got a couple of answers to the trivia question we've gotten.
I told you it was going to light up. Those folks want that high five and handshake from the always famous, always friendly Dylan Beach.
And we've gotten 2 answers from the first person to get it was the Hastings Sodbusters YouTube channel. Right. And then the second answer, Eli Lewis's mom. Both getting it correct,
well,
I must add.
It's great to hear from both of those crews. This one catches the bottom of the strike zone for strike 1. Glad to have the Sodbusters crew, but even more excited to have Big Country's great mom on the airwaves with us tonight. Following along with some Zap baseball here on a Monday evening. Phillips misses up and away to Quinn Ludvigsen. So, both correct? Yep. Great. Well, now the fans know.
Don Larson.
1952. That one's just a bit inside.
As it's going to be we're going to have to see if the Hastings crew gets it here or if I head to their place, but I'm going to have to give out a hearty handshake to one of them.
Well, you'll have to check with Big Country before you give one to his... Oh, there's this one's driven into the left field gap. That's going to get down for an extra base hit. Rounding first, heading for second is Ludvigsen, pinballing around those walls in left center field. And Ludvigsen puts a charge into that one, lines that one sharply into the gap. You caught me in kind of an awkward time. I was going to say you have to check with Eli's mother. You check with Eli first before you give off the high five. I think you can give that one to the Hastings crew over there. Whoever was first gets it.
Was the Hastings crew, so
they'll grab it. But we do want to thank Eli Lewis's mom for being one of our biggest fans.
Thank you, Miss Jessica Lewis.
And I must say, he has done a fantastic job taking the production, direction, and engineering role in stride, as this one's grounded sharply to third, fielded cleanly by Cross, fires across the infield for out number 3. Well, we saw a double there from Quinn Ludvigsen. The Zap couldn't do anything with it. We head to the top of the 7th inning. Sodbusters lead 5-2.
Support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Friday at 9 p.m. for a street dance with music by the Urbandale Lane Band. $5 cover. Then on Saturday, come enjoy a smoked roast beef sandwich, sweet corn, and potatoes starting at $5.30. $15 a plate. All located at the Highmore Fire Hall. The beef is donated by Willow Creek and Weidenbach Ranch. Please support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Saturday at 5:30. This invitation brought to you by Titan Machinery.
Here at the DRG Media Group, we know free, over-the-air radio works to get the word out. But we also know these days people consume information at different times of day and through a variety of different platforms. DRG Media Group's AM and FM radio stations, DRGnews.com website, and DRG News mobile app provide local news, sports, weather, area high school athletic events, music and entertainment news, and more. And thanks to our advertisers, it's available to you for free. But we want you to share information with us, too. By using the Contact Us feature on the DRGnews.com website or the DRG News mobile app, you can send us a request for advertising information, a news or sports item, a weather cancellation, and more. Fill in your information, select which type of inquiry you have, provide the relevant details, then click Submit. We make qualifying information available to the public using our various DRG Media Group platforms.
Back here at Hyde Stadium is the new pitcher on the mound for the top of the 7th, Braxton Clemens. Takes the mound. Like we mentioned, his mom was one of our loyal supporters out in Spearfish.
She must be a real seamhead if she knows the answer to that Don Larson trivia question. Or she must have fibbed a little bit, looked it up, and just really wanted to shake Dylan Beach's hand.
And she just missed by half a second to Scott Galusha of the Hastings Sodbusters.
Another great general manager in his own respect. We see some, there's not enough said about the guys who actually run these teams. You talk so much about the coaches and how great of a job Josh Printer, the head coach of the Sodbusters, has done, and Jamie Habiger, coach, co-owner of this Zap Ball Club. But, Mr. Galusha and Mr. Sheets here, the GM, they do so much behind the scenes, and something that you guys as the intern team gets to see every day in and out of how much work actually goes in, and what a passion it is for these guys to run teams like this. And got to tip your cap to Mr. Galusha. He's put together a fine ball club here.
And it takes a village. And one last comment from the YouTube I have to acknowledge. He did give a nice compliment to Pierce, said it's his favorite place to visit. Wonderful people, before giving a go Busters in there as his team leads 5-2, and that'll be a leadoff hit. See if he tries to leg it out for extra bases. Jackson trying to fire in. Runner will be safe. Leadoff double there for Brock Cross, and he continues his excellent day at the plate.
He has had an outstanding day today and really wasted no time getting after Braxton Clemens, and a perfectly placed shot down the left field line, just squeezed by Aiden Johnson. Yes. We talked about it, and before we went on air, we were watching these two teams take BP, and you can just tell that this Sodbusters team, a lot like the Zap, have some really talented hitters with some really smooth swings. And it's pretty incredible when you see their roster and you see incoming freshmen. Just a load of talent.
As that one swung on and missed for strike one to Zane Wilson. And like I mentioned, 19 of the 29 players are incoming freshmen, and then another few handful are sophomores, so a lot of underclassmen on this Sodbusters team as the 0-1 from Plemons fouled off for strike 2. And sometimes youth can be very successful if you invest in them at the right time, and they can really get going. Got a lot of baseball to play. As I think we might have had an issue with the bat. Maybe you got a cracked one there.
I think we've got our first broken bat at Hyde Stadium here this season. So you can check that one off your bingo cards. And this is an important spot here for Braxton Plemons to keep this game within striking distance. We know the Zap can bounce back quickly. We saw him score 3 runs against Tristan Agadol after he posted 5 innings of shutout perfect baseball. Well, I should say 4 2/3. But Plemons in a tough spot here.
The 0-2, the bunt, a dangerous bunt, goes right back to the catcher or the pitcher, and Plemons called it off, and that one goes wild. The runner will score. They'll head to second on just a nightmare play there for the Zap. Ball was bunted back to the pitcher, Plemons. He left it for Farwell, and then the wild throw to third base, not in time, and it'll score a runner, and will be an extra base hit on a bunt.
Well, that's on. I think that more falls on the shoulders of Ty Farwell, because Plemons was in perfect position to make that play, and Farwell called him off of it. And that's one that Plemons needs to overrule his catcher on and just take that ball, fire it to first, get the out. And another poor decision by throwing it to third base, trying to steal an out. A good throw might have gotten him, but it's really not worth the risk, because you just gave up another run and you allowed the hitter to get to second base with one of the softest hit doubles we've ever seen.
As that'll be the first error of the night for the Zap. Already with nobody away, a 1-run frame for the Hastings Sodbusters. Plemons trying to settle back in. That one belted into the gap. That one going to get down for extra bases to the deepest part of the ballpark. The runner will score. He's heading for 3. Relay will not be in time. A sliding triple there for Weston Johnston. Sodbusters are starting to run away with this one.
Well, we talked about Weston Johnston and the power that he possesses, and he just showed it off there. Put a real sharp line drive into that gap, and that one was a heat-seeking missile. Had that been hit to any of the Zap players in the outfield, they might have been able to catch that one on a line. It was so hardly hit.
As the bunt shown down the first base line, that one going to drift foul. As we'll have to redo that one.
And the Sodbusters showing you why they're in first place, or near first place, as we haven't checked the latest standings, but I have to imagine they are in first place. As you know, they play this small ball. They do the little things right. We've seen so many well-placed bunts in this ball game, and it's really thrown the Zap kind of for a loop.
Yeah, and for such a young team with a player who was, or a coach that was a player for them last season, at just 23 years old, leading the way, as that one swung on and missed for strike 1. It is really impressive just how good this Sodbuster team is.
They do the small things right, and that's what wins baseball games. And we talked about it. They can just kind of piece together innings of 2-3 runs, and those continue to add up. But a great pitch there from Braxton Plemons to get the first out of the inning.
And runner goes down swinging. An 0-2 count on the scoreboard. Still yet to update. Now the out recorded. Plemons gets one away. 2-run inning thus far for Hastings through a third. As the runner on third, Plemons deals. Off speed in there for strike 1.
And really nowhere to go hide in this lineup. Can't really try to get to a certain guy and feel like it's a sure out. You got to go after whoever's at the plate.
That one chopped to the third baseman. Johnson can't field it cleanly. The runner will be safe. The runner will score. Third run of the inning for the Sodbusters. Now lead 8-2.
Yeah, and this is just compiling errors on top of each other, and it almost feels like an avalanche, or a snowball rolling down the hill as it just continues to gain speed and width. It's just errors on top of errors and compounding errors that have really gotten the Zap behind the 8 ball here.
With so much snow in South Dakota, it just continues to fall here for the Zap. Just a few untimely errors after each other. Zap have scored or allowed 8 unanswered. Sodbusters have jumped out to a commanding 6-run lead with just 1 away here in the top of the 7th. Braxton Plemons got the strike there. As he sets another bunt for the Sodbusters. That one going to stay fair, and the runner will be safe once again.
That one a tougher play to make for Braxton Plemons and Ty Farwell, but again, we saw this miscommunication between the pitcher and the catcher. Farwell being a little bit too aggressive, it feels like. Plemons has been in good positions to make these plays, but he's been called off by his catcher, and both times they haven't been able to make the out.
Just trouble with the bunt here. Saw the Sodbusters lay down a bunt with 2 strikes in this inning, and it worked. And maybe just showing the Zap what the blueprint might need to be as we see another bunt here. The throw not in time to first as Plemons.
Well, there was nobody there to field it.
Couldn't throw it to anyone there. Ludvigsen ran up on the bunt. Bazanski couldn't cover in time, and Gavin Frazier fired up calling a mound visit here.
And this is the quickest you'll ever see Devin Skelton get out to the pitcher's mound to try to figure out what's going on with this team. I mean, this is pretty tough to swallow as a coach, whether you're the head coach or the assistant coach, but Devin Skelton showing off some of that fire we saw in Spearfish.
And just a small ball continues for Spearfish, or Sodbusters, and like we have been mentioning, the small ball has worked at times for the Zap. We've not seen the Zap put down this many bunts, I think, all season, let alone in an inning. But it just continues to work for the Sodbusters, and that one just nobody covering first because Ludvigsen was up so far trying to cover the bunt, and then Bazanski couldn't get over to first, and just continues to avalanche here in the top of the 7th for the Zap. Bases loaded with 1 away, 3 have already scored as Plemons sets in that one, belted to right field. Goldberg underneath it. The runner's tagged from second and third. One will score as the throw pulled Farwell off the plate well into the infield. So does Zap get the second out of the inning?
And to go back to that bunt there, the play was to third base on that play for Braxton Plemons. If he had thrown to third, he would have had the out with much ease. But I think because of how hard it's been for them to get on the same page between himself and Farwell, I thought he just felt like he fielded it cleanly. As that one misses outside, and he thought, okay, now that I've got it, his instincts kicked in, and he decided to want to go to first. I think if you hadn't had those 2 miscues between himself and Farwell, he might have had the presence of mind to fire to third, but this has kind of put the Zap in a blender here.
The 1-0 belted towards center field. Curiel chasing. That one going to skip to the wall for extra bases. 1 runner already scored. They're sending in the second. Frazier, the relay, not in time. So a 2 RBI double there. And it just keeps on coming for Hastings. And going back to that bunt, when you don't have a lot of time to practice, and it's probably not something that many teams practice all too often, the bunt defense, it's kind of a dying art, the bunt in general, and can't imagine it's something this Zap team has had too much time to be able to really practice and get down where they go in these situations.
And that's a great point made there, Dylan, and that's probably something that Josh Printer thinks about, knows, and says, you know, this is something that might throw a curveball, and not trying to use a baseball pun here, but
as that one driven towards Curiel, he settles under it for the second out of the inning, or the third out of the inning, my bad there, folks. We can keep it here for a minute to keep this discussion going.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, just to kind of address all that just happened there in that top of the 7th. You know, that's a heads-up thing that I think a really smart head coach like Josh Printer probably utilizes, saying, you know, this is probably something that teams don't work on very often, that don't really, you know, comes across their mind. How often do you think that a couple bunts are going to bring 6 runs across the plate? But Printer, being the wise player that he is and a guy that knows how this thing works, is using that to his advantage, and I think it's a perfect time to stand up for the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah, and Printer, a guy who had played 2 years in this league, as we'll get to hear the kids sing. The kids belting it out. They might need to get some vocal lessons from Brian Oakland.
Well, they were just excited, I think, to get in. I don't think they cared so much about how they sounded, more so about how loud they sounded. You know, Brian Oakland, he carries a lot of pride, so he wanted to make sure that even if his wasn't loud, he made it come through really well. And good to hear that some of those kids are still having fun here, as the Zap surely can't be having that much fun after a somewhat tough inning to swallow. They're giving up 6 runs and, not really giving up a bunch of super hard-hit balls. I mean, they did give up their fair share of hard-hit baseballs in that half inning. But, at the same time, you got to give credit to the Sodbusters, who did a lot of it with their small ball and some of those bunts. As Chase Phillips gets back to work on the mound here for Hastings.
Trey Runge entering the game for Caden Bazanski. Here, as he fouls that one off into the metal backstop. The beautiful Hyde Stadium backstop or grandstand that we use in our cinematic shots to start the game.
And a nice play there by our Avera medical staff member, Mr. Sam, down there, who likes to spend some time with us up in the broadcast booth before heading down to hang out with the team. Good to keep his head on a swivel.
Certainly a friend of the broadcast. The 1-1 to Runge, chopped towards the third baseman. That one going to go foul as the pitcher made chase. A smart play there.
Swinging bunt there from Trey Runge, trying to copy what the Sodbusters have been doing. It's interesting. This is going to be an interesting task for Jamie Habiger and Devin Skelton and the rest of that coaching staff as they go into these 3 days off. Because, there's 2 ways that this could have worked itself out. And this game is by no means over. Unless the Zap get run ruled with one more that comes across in the top of the 8th inning, if they're not able to score any and chip away at this lead, this will be a tough loss to swallow. Because it's a game that you took an early lead in.
As Runge fouls that one off.
And you go into these 3 off days, you could either go in with, riding high, beating the first place team, or you go in with your tail tucked between your legs a little bit, and sometimes that can benefit you more than ending this long stretch with a win.
As the 1-2 to Runge goes down looking, and a lot of the times they say you learn a lot more in a loss than you do a win, and certainly a lot of lessons to be learned here tonight for the Zap. Maybe some lessons in the small ball, maybe some things the Zap can implement with how many fast runners there are on the Zap team. I mean, by no means am I a coach, but it sure has worked out for the Sodbusters tonight.
Well, you do have to address this, too. It's easy to say, hey, we're going to bunt more.
But as that one misses for ball 1.
It's easy to say, hey, we're going to bunt more. We're going to implement that style. It's another thing to actually do it, and that's one thing that Hastings has done.
As Curiel fouls that one off for strike 1, and it is impressive with this many young guys how many of them can lay down a nice, impressive bunt. It's kind of a lost start. It's by no means an easy task as the 1-1 in there for strike 2 to Curiel. A nice frame job there from Johnston.
And, I mean, every single bunt that Hastings has put down has just been about picture perfect.
As that one misses low, the frame can't save Johnston there. As the count evened up at 2 apiece, and Curiel trying to get momentum back in the Zap's favor as that one fouled off into the netting. The Zap jumped out to a 2-0 lead on the Aiden Johnson homer and the Gavin Frazier miraculous play where he rounded the bases all stolen, as we'll get a quick mound visit here, but it was 11 unanswered runs for the Hastings Sodbusters, a 3-run 5th, a 2-run 6th, and then the 6th run explosion in the 7th that has powered them out to this lead, out hitting the Zap 13-4, and winning this game 11-2, as that'll be the end of Chase Phillips' day.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a new pitcher. We'll get a number for you. It looks like he's going to be a right-hander here. Could be Nate Fisher out of Bixby, Oklahoma. We'll check on that. And I'm curious what the message to from Jamie Habiger to his team is going to be if they're not able to come back in this one. Is it going to be, all right, guys, let's just take our days off, let's rest, or it's, hey, now you know it's time to get to work, and in a big, big way, as that is
Nate Fisher.
Nate Fisher out of Bixby, as we mentioned, a sidewinder and a true side armor out there on the mound for the right-hander.
I think I'd be comfortable even calling him a submarine pitcher, more akin to what you would kind of expect out of a sidearm submarine guy, more so maybe than Hudson Ivy. He really gets under it, and this will be certainly interesting to see how the Zap can pick up on this pitcher.
Well, he's efficient because he's not only pitching but also getting a workout in, because the first part of his delivery is a full lower body squat, so much so that his backside touches the back of his right heel before he stands back up and then goes right back down to deliver that submarine pitch.
It is certainly in a line of where we have seen a lot of unusual windups. Honestly, probably I can very comfortably say the oddest one we've seen this year.
Absolutely.
As I'd have to imagine that is a difficult one for the umps to make calls on when there's base runners on and you got to think about a balk. I mean, he's hitting a full body squat. I mean, how do you deem what's an extra motion in that?
Well, I think that's one that umpires just say, you know what, we're going to stay away from this one. It's such a unique delivery that he probably plays mind games on the umpires. And there's that, get our first look at live pitching from it.
As the 2-2 to Curiel, swung on and missed. The windup works, gets his first K. He inherited 2 of the strikes from Phillips, but gets the 3rd on his own.
That's pretty efficient, isn't it?
Yeah, 1 pitch, 1 strikeout. Was kind of like when we picked up the rain delay game out in Spearfish. Gavin Frazier came up a 3-2 count, swung on the first one, and it was a very fast inning as Frazier leads off here versus the Submarine. That one popped towards left field, sizing it up, making a jumping snag for out number 3. Was so close to exiting the ballpark, but just died a bit at the track for Frazier. Zap can't answer back. They trail 11-2.
Looking for happenings in Central South Dakota? The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce Community Calendar is your go-to for all the latest events. From entertainment to local benefits, community activities, and more, there's something for everyone. Email your event to contactchamber@pierre.org and it will be listed on the weekly calendar. To view the calendar, go to www.pierre.org. Let's celebrate together in the heart of South Dakota. The Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce, connecting our community one event at a time.
Doing a little spring cleaning at your house? I'm Val Keller, City of Pierre Solid Waste Manager, letting you know the City Supply Swap program can help. We'll recycle cleaning supplies, paint, and other household chemicals you don't want anymore. Plus, you're free to take any products other people dropped off for recycling. The swap program helps our customers and keeps things out of our landfill. Supplies we accept include stains and sealers, pesticides, pool chemicals, typical cleaning agents, as well as oil-based paint, latex paint, and spray paint. For additional information, call 605-773-7434. Again, that's 773-7434 for more information about recycling your household supplies and paint. Let the City of Pierre help you get your home and garage cleared out and cleaned up for the summer months.
This public service message is brought to you by the radio stations of the DRG Media Group in Pierre.
Back to Hyde Stadium, Esteban Baca on the mound for the Zap as he comes in. When no pitcher really wants to come in, trailing 11-2, but it's been some really nice small ball, some well-placed bunts, some hard base hits from the Hastings Sodbusters. They look to add to this lead. Baca looking to keep them at bay and give the Zap an opportunity to chip away at this lead. Justin Coward alongside Dylan Beach. We just heard the YMCA here, a fan favorite. And got to see a couple Zap players get out and get the fans up on their feet. This will bring up the bottom half of the lineup. Zane Wilson will be the first hitter here for the Sodbusters. Ty Farwell with some final words from Esteban Baca. And Dylan, what can we expect out of Baca here on the bump?
Yeah, Baca, a few of his pitches, he gets that extra long leg kick on, and he didn't have the debut he wanted, but he's been sharp since.
And he stays sharp, fires in a first pitch strike for strike number 1. Good fastball delivered to Zane Wilson. Here comes Baca, set with the 0-1. That one bounces across for ball 1.
Baca, a really lively guy, had a kind of a nightmare debut out in Casper a couple of weeks ago, but then the next night he came back in and got his first strikeout, and you could kind of just see his face light up.
Here's the 1-1. That misses up and away. That's one thing you got to have, especially in this sport, in this game, a short memory. Long season, you're going to suffer some tough losses. You're not going to have things go your way, but you got to forget about it and come back to the ballpark next day ready to play. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one in there for strike 2. And Baca looking to have some success early here. Baca staring in, trying to peek and squint in between the legs of Ty Farwell. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Popped up over the head of the third baseman, Aiden Johnson. Gavin Frazier calls him off, and he squeezes the first out at the top of the 8th inning.
Baca getting that key first out, and probably won't be smiling a whole lot down 9, but he's certainly a pitcher who I think his kind of playfulness kind of plays a bit better into it. In a game where if he comes in with a lead, I mean, he could really get this crowd going. Was really lively at the team car wash a week ago, and he's just a guy just full of energy, full of life.
So now he gets going against Weston Johnston, who's had a nice game behind the dish and at the plate. And Johnston fouls that one off back in between his legs. Nice assist there from Christian Loera, who's had a nice day at shortstop for the Sodbusters. Baca comes set. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Good off-speed pitch from Baca, and he's quickly ahead 0-2. I gotta tell you, aside from that rain out against Spearfish, we have had nothing but picture-perfect weather here for all of these Zap home games. As Baca comes set with the 0-2. Swung on and missed for strike 3. Good at bat for Esteban Baca. He goes 1-2-3 in pitches to the Sodbusters catcher and registers the second out of the inning.
Esteban working quickly on this just beautiful, beautiful pier night. I feel like we say that at just about every broadcast except for that rain delay. It was just a nasty, nasty day from the start.
I think Mother Nature must be a Zap fan. She always orders up great weather for us when the Zap are at home. First pitch to Cooper Harrell. Just misses inside for ball 1.
On the road, I think Mother Nature might not be a Zap fan because this rain has just followed him around, but she has teed up nothing but beautiful nights except for that rain delay here.
Baca comes back with a good fastball, swung on and missed by Harrell. We are expecting some possibly dangerous weather later this evening. Don't think we'll have this game stretch out long enough to have to deal with any of that. As Baca comes back with the 1-1, that bounces in, picked by Farwell to Harrell for ball 2. Not a hint to wind out there. That flag is draped calmly out in right center field. Swung on and missed for strike 2. And Baca works the count to 2-2.
Justin, I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the 3 days off because you are probably my leading source of weather updates in here.
Well, I'm glad you think that way. The buddy I played golf with wasn't having any of my win predictions. As that one's checked over the head of Baca, charging and fielding, firing to first is Gavin Frazier for the 3rd out of the inning. What a quick-handed play from Gavin Frazier. That'll send us to the bottom of the 8th. Zap looking to chip away at this 11-2 deficit. We'll be back right after this short break on River 92.7.
Thinking of travel? Pierre Regional Airport offers non-stop flights to Denver. Starting August 1st, book your destination at United.com. With United Mileage Plus, you can save more by earning miles when you fly from Pierre Regional Airport. 1-hour flights to Denver and the world beyond. Avoid the crowds, avoid the drive, and enjoy free parking when you fly from Pierre Regional Airport. United Airlines in Pierre starting August 1st. Skip the drive. Fly from Pierre.
We're good at making excuses for things we don't want to do.
I can't work late because my cat has a job interview.
Unfortunately, we're also good at making excuses for things we shouldn't do, like driving drunk.
There's nothing on the back roads but cows.
The truth is, there's no good reason to drink and drive. Not even if you stick to the back roads. If you drink, don't drive. No excuses. Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
If you're interested in becoming a valued sponsor of an Oahe Zap broadcast, you can contact us for more information at sports@dakotaradiogroup.com or call us at 605-224-86.
Welcome back here at Hyde Stadium, creeping up on the 9 o'clock hour as Nate Fisher is back out on the mound for the Sodbusters. Zap looking to get some offense going here against the Sidewinder. And we were talking about what we're going to do in these next 3 off days. They're not technically off days for me. I've still got the still got to pay the bills back at home. But you guys get some time to yourselves. You going to hit the range?
Yeah, definitely got to hit the range before I explore some of these golf courses out in Pierre, because I am definitely not in golf playing mode right now.
Well, he's going to make his way out to Dunes Golf Course. You can too. Dunes is in prime condition right now. If you want to go have a fun round, make your way out to Dunes. As Farwell steps in, takes ball 1 down low. Jamie Habiger standing out on the third base line with his arms crossed. We saw Habiger out at Dunes having a good time a couple weeks ago. Not having as good of a time here tonight. I don't think he's been pleased with his team's defense. As Farwell chops one off the plate, kind of into no man's land, and he's going to leg out a single on a swinging bunt. Kind of got a Baltimore chop off that swing as it found its way over the head of Nate Fisher. Charging was Drew Vega, but nobody could get to it in time. And Ty Farwell using those long legs to stretch out an infield single is the first Zap base runner of the bottom of the 8th inning. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Vince Palizzi. See if Palizzi can put a charge into one. First pitch taken in there for strike 1.
Anything can happen. I mean, we saw the Sodbusters put up 6 of their own. If you get a 6 frame, it'd only be a 3-run game going into the 9th.
Absolutely. That's the great thing about baseball. It's never over until it's over. As Palizzi grounds one sharply up the middle, fielded cleanly, stepping on second for 1, and firing to first for 2 is Drew Vega. So that double play will go 5-3, as it was pretty tailor-made there for Drew Vega. Palizzi did a nice job getting the bat on the ball, but credit Drew Vega had him shaded perfectly up the middle. And now the Zap down to their last out here in the bottom of the 8th inning, and that'll bring up not Connor Goldberg. We've actually got a new hitter stepping in here for the Zap.
Mason Lang.
Mason Lang, one of the many catchers in this catcher's room, going to pinch hit here. He's going to take the spot there of Connor Goldberg. So Jamie Habiger trying to throw out some different looks here. As Lang takes this one down and in for ball 1. I think Mason Lang's, got to be excited about getting an opportunity to hit here, show off a little bit to Jamie Habiger, earn himself some more time in the batter's box as he checks that one foul off the end of the bat.
13 RBI already for Lang. Had that inside the park home run out in Spearfish. It's been an impressive start once again for him.
Lang with an open stance in that left-handed batter's box takes ball 2 outside. With this Nate Fisher and his delivery, it's pretty easy to pick up what pitches are coming out of the hand of most pitchers, but the Sidewinder, it's really tough to tell. As Lang with a really, really strong swing fouls that one off the end of the bat. Count works 2-2. But, it's easier to tell with the overhand delivery of pitchers, whether it's a curveball or a fastball, just by how the ball travels. But it seems with this sidewind submarine pitch, every single pitch has a little bit of movement on it. As does that one. This one's lifted high down the left field line. Underneath it is Cross, and that will retire the side. So the Zap can't get anything going in the bottom of the 8th. We head to the top of the 9th here. We'll be right back after this short break on River 92.7.
Things in life you can't control. Your in-laws just bought a new house right next door. Construction is behind schedule, so you have to detour to work again. That car next to you just lost control and swerved into your lane. Things in life you can control. Wearing your seatbelt. In South Dakota, over 55% of those who die in a car crash aren't buckled up. Control what you can. Always wear your seatbelt.
Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Dunes Golf is celebrating their 30th anniversary this summer. They look forward to seeing old friends and new acquaintances on the driving range and on the course throughout the summer. Play 9 or 18 holes, pay by the round, save with a punch card, or become a member for unlimited play. Dunes Golf is a great location for group outings or a summer play day. Call 605-223-2525 or see golfdunes.com. Just 1 mile north of Fort Pierre on Highway 1806. Dunes Golf.
Get ready, Central South Dakota. Oahe Days in Pierre is back, June 20th and 21st at Steamboat Park.
It's the annual music and arts festival you don't want to miss. Live music, amazing food, local vendors, carnival rides, a beer garden, and so much more.
Friday night, it's 90s party band, the Mallrats.
And Saturday, country fans, Struggle Jennings takes the stage.
The 3 bands each night start at 5 p.m.
Grab the full lineup and details now at oahedays.com.
If you're interested in becoming a valued sponsor of an Oahe Zap broadcast, you can contact us for more information at sports@dakotaradiogroup.com or call us at 605-224-8686.
You heard it there in the break. Oahe Days coming up this weekend, and there's going to be festivities Friday, Saturday, all day, including a ball game here at Hyde Stadium. So go over, enjoy the Duck Derby race in the morning, enjoy some of the other festivities in the afternoon. Make your way over to Hyde Stadium in the evening for another home ball game. We'll be going off the air for 3 days while the Zap take a couple days off for a rest, and then we'll be back Friday night back here with some more Zap baseball for you. And I hand it over for the top of the 9th to my partner in crime, Dylan Beach.
TJ Eikenberry, the new man on the bump. Got to see the kids run the bases in between the innings. Our friend of the broadcast, Emma Sheets, having a bit of trouble running through the grass. Tricked her up a little bit. She wiped out. She still won't give me or Justin a high five, but I'm hoping by the end of the season we might both maybe get one, maybe some knuckles.
Well, she was real upset. Of course, she is, just 2 or 3 years old, but she was real upset in that rain delay that Mom and Dad, and this is the rain delay against Spearfish, she was upset that Mom and Dad wouldn't let her go play in the rain with her friends. She was also upset that they called the game early. She's a true baseball fan, but she's got some more tears in her eyes after that wipeout. Not sure if that was pain or embarrassment, but don't worry, young lady. We've all had that same shame trying to run the bases out there. You'll get them at the next home game when we're back here Friday night.
Yeah, she was not a fan of that rain delay. Came up to me and you after the game, said, "Mom's not letting me play with my friends." And I got the story from her mom, Becca, our lovely concession stand manager, as the OO from Eikenberry, fouled back into the netting. And I got the story from Becca, and she said, I couldn't let her play with her friends. Her friends were leaving the ballpark, and Emma wanted to play, and they were leaving, and Emma wasn't too pleased that they were leaving early for the rain delay, as she had to stay with us for the cleanup as the 0-1 turns 1-1. As she is practically an intern with us nowadays.
Well, I think she's assumed the role of assistant general manager pretty well.
Yeah, I think
she's a tough cookie, like you said. She doesn't give out high fives or handshakes. You got to earn those.
1-1 from Eikenberry and Mrs. Lowe, and between her and Jack Pates in that assistant GM spot, I think we got to give it to little Emma Jean, as Eikenberry behind in the count, 2-1, as he sets and delivers. That one swung on a miss for strike 2.
Good pitch there from Eikenberry, pulling the string on that one. And now we got a straight. Now that ball did not come from any dugout. That ball came in from over the fencing. Somebody threw that ball back into Saito.
As Eikenberry gets set for the 2-2. Nobody away here in the top of the ninth. That one chopped towards the shortstop. Frazier charging, throws over there in time to Ludvigsen for out number 1.
Tell you what, Gavin Frazier has made some outstanding plays with the leather over at shortstop today. Moving up, charging the baseball, some bang-bang plays at first. And, you know, at shortstop, you're essentially playing the furthest back of anybody in the field. While third base may seem like the longest throw, shortstop, you're way back almost into shallow left field. So you've got to make some very, very strong throws from that position. You've got to cover a lot of ground, and we've seen Gavin Frazier do that a lot tonight.
Has been one of the leaders of this group as the 0-0 from Eikenberry runs inside for ball 1. Frazier's made some great plays as he's having some fights with the Mosquitoes right now, but we saw him call for that impassioned speech on the mound visit during that 6-run frame, as that one just misses for ball 2.
And we see a lot of guys interchanged in different positions around the diamond. We've seen some different guys play third. We've seen different guys like Vince Palizzi, Quinn Ludvigsen play first. As I mentioned, Aiden Johnson and Ty Farwell playing third, Trey Runge and Caden Bazanski at second.
As that one in there for strike 1.
But it seems like Gavin Frazier is a stalwart at that shortstop position. You know, even at the catching position, we've seen Mason Lang and Ty Farwell, a couple different guys, and especially in the outfield. But Gavin Frazier is the guy at shortstop for the Oahe Zap.
Eikenberry missed there for ball 3, and I can't agree enough. I mean, it seems only when he might need that occasional day of rest when that shortstop spot is really ever open, as Eikenberry for the 3-1 here misses for ball 4, and as he issues the free pass. Frazier has just been so good offensively and defensively for the Zap team. It's been hard to take him out of the lineup, and when you have a bunch of guys rotating at second and third base, and even so the smaller rotations behind the plate and at first, it is nice to be able to have that one guy who can kind of unify all these different groups.
Well, you mentioned it in your point previous. He was the one, when things started to slip away and kind of fall apart there in the top of the 7th inning, that pulled the infield together and said, guys, we got to stop this. Let's tighten the bolts. Let's realize that we're a good ball club, and let's get out of this jam. And they were able to get out of it there shortly after. But you can tell who some of the top leaders of this ball team are.
As Eikenberry gets set, 1 away, 1 on first due to the walk, is that one in there for strike 1. And Gavin Frazier certainly has to be good at barking out orders, has 5 dogs. So definitely, probably these teammates got to listen better than the dogs most days. As the 0-1 from Eikenberry, slapped to the second baseman, Runge. Can't field it cleanly, got a toss to second for the out. Couldn't turn 2, but gets the lead runner to retire the second batter of the inning.
And I will say this, Runge didn't field that cleanly, but he and Frazier made that toss and bare hand catch look as nonchalant as you could. That was not an easy play for Runge, who bobbled the ball, had to go down to a knee, find it in between the wickets, and get out a fast runner. And he turned and tossed it to Frazier, and Frazier just swatted it out of the air with a bare hand like they were playing pepper out there in the middle of the infield.
And Runge was basically in a kneel, like right in the base path. Probably could have just turned around and tagged him, but would have also been a very difficult play as they get the second out of the top of the 9th for Eikenberry. As Eikenberry has been so good this season, him and his Ellsworth Community College teammate Jackson Cornett have been getting some of these later innings as kind of a set-up closer pair, but that is not the case here tonight, as Eikenberry getting a chance to get an inning in as that one runs in on the pinch hitter Graham Hilton.
Tell you what, for as many times as the Zap have been hit this season in the batter's box, they are running up the numbers for the Sodbusters. By my count, that's the 5th hit batsman of the ball game today for Hastings.
Yeah, and it has been a lot of guys being hit, and this isn't even one of the team's primary rivals, and I don't even think they're meaning to. It's just sometimes you lose control, but when you hit the team this many times, sometimes it kind of looks like you might be meaning to. As that one popped up, Ludvigsen sizing it up, brings it in for the 3rd out of the inning. Zap trail 11-2. We'll be right back here for the bottom of the 9th.
Support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Friday at 9 p.m. for a street dance with music by the Urbandale Lane Band. $5 cover. Then on Saturday, come enjoy a smoked roast beef sandwich, sweet corn, and potatoes starting at $5.30. $15 a plate. All located at the Highmore Fire Hall. The beef is donated by Willow Creek and Weidenbach Ranch. Please support the Highmore Volunteer Fire Department this Saturday at 5:30. This invitation brought to you by Titan Machinery.
Here at the DRG Media Group, we know free, over-the-air radio works to get the word out. But we also know these days people consume information at different times of day and through a variety of different platforms. DRG Media Group's AM and FM radio stations, DRGnews.com website, and DRG News mobile app provide local news, sports, weather, area high school athletic events, music and entertainment news, and more. And thanks to our advertisers, it's available to you for free. But we want you to share information with us, too. By using the Contact Us feature on the DRGnews.com website or the DRG News mobile app, you can send us a request for advertising information, a news or sports item, a weather cancellation, and more. Fill in your information, select which type of inquiry you have, provide the relevant details, then click Submit. We make qualifying information available to the public using our various DRG Media Group platforms.
As we are back here for the bottom of the ninth, the Oahe Zap trail 11-2. If you're just joining us, I'm Dylan Beach. Alongside me is my partner Justin Coward and our producer Eli Lewis. The Zap are going to need some magic, but we are doing everything we can up here in the broadcast booth. Me and Justin, we got our rally caps on. Eli Lewis got his jersey on inside out. We're doing everything we can. We might need some rally hats at home. As Aiden Johnson starts off the inning for the Oahe Zap with ball one. And we'll see if our rally cap's got any sort of magic in it, as Aiden Johnson homered already in this one, as that one misses outside for ball two.
You never know, it could turn around a game on a dime.
As Aiden Johnson trying to get something going here.
You know, a rally cap has never lost a team a game, that's for sure.
As that one chopped high to the shortstop, fires over in time. A good play, another good one for Loera.
Yeah, that was we've seen some really nice plays out of these shortstops on both sides today. Loera having to really kind of field that and on the move, make a quick transition from glove to right hand and make a fast throw.
A high chopper there from Aiden Johnson, and brings Quinn Ludvigson to the plate. Has had a great run of things here lately, as that one misses outside for ball one. Had a double in this game. He had a grand slam in that rain delay versus Spearfish. Had another homer over the weekend at Spearfish, as that one runs inside for ball two. Ludvigson trying to get something started here. Zap down to their last two outs, as we see the squat and the fire from the sidewinder in there for strike one from Nate Fisher. Got a quick out on Johnson due to the high chopper. Squat, he's set now. The delivery, belted foul for Ludvigson.
Ludvigson doing a little squat of his own to get down to that low off-speed pitch. Good to see him move the legs and change that. We talk about that on bunts, where you have to change your eye level with the bat. Ludvigson kind of changing his body position to get down to that pitch.
Ludvigson, the 2-2 count, one away. A delivery belted down the right field line. A nice play from the right fielder. Able to stay on his feet, make the grab for out number two. A nice play from Harrell.
Well, I'll tell you what, Quinn Ludvigson, he really, that was an impressive swing. He kind of waited on that pitch perfectly, almost knew it was coming, guessed correctly on that pitch. But Cooper Harrell, I think he got fooled with the swing, thought that was going to travel much further, but because it was off speed, not as much power. Really nice job by Cooper Harrell, kind of circling the wagons, coming back to make a tough play.
Alex Jackson to the plate. Zap down to their last out. Was a pitch to hit there for Ludvigson, but on an off speed, he had to generate about all the power. Couldn't belt that one out like he probably wanted, as that one runs inside for ball two to Jackson. Alex Jackson, no stranger to some nice plays out in left field. I've mentioned it to some of my coworkers. I have to imagine he practices that sliding catch more than anyone in the game. As he swings on for strike one, he has a lot of those plays where he slides in and kind of scoops it. And
not to disparage Jackson, but, I think he may go to it sometimes when he doesn't even need to.
I mean, maybe just aura farming sometimes.
He knows how to make a play look good. That is for sure.
As he's ahead in the count 3-1. We mentioned he has a nice, sizable following on TikTok and Instagram. As that one runs inside for ball 4. That one won't draw any clicks, but it gets a runner on for the Zap with 2 away. And Trey Runge to the plate.
Well, we've seen some 2-out magic from the Zap all season, trying to create some more here. See if Trey Runge can use this opportunity stepping into the batter's box to get something going for the Zap.
Trey Runge taking advantage as a quick pickoff over to first base, and Alex Jackson narrowly getting back there in time.
Well, that brings up a point that you made about the umpires trying to kind of differentiate what's an actual movement and what's a balk.
That one runs inside to Runge.
Because the pitcher has to come set before firing over to first, and it looked like to me that Fisher was still coming up from that squat when he turned to fire over to first base. I'd be really interested the next time we get to talk to some of the umpires, their take on that.
I certainly thought if one of his would have been a balk, that one maybe so, because it was a very fast pickoff, and Jackson just lucky to get back in time. But back to the batter at the plate, Trey Runge taking advantage of some of his opportunities with the injured Cole Ottersberg. I got to catch up with Cole today, ask him how his finger was doing, was saying he's trying to get back into hitting and was going to try to give it a go to hit tonight, but might not get that chance tonight as Runge swings on that one for strike one. But with some days off and then a nice long homestand, might get to see the fan favorite returner Cole Ottersberg come back to the lineup. As now the 1-1, Jackson on first. That one misses outside for ball 2. It would be a nice boost to get Ottersberg back, and a crowded middle infield, but Ottersberg has a lot that he can really bring to this team. So he is a very speedy guy. We saw him pitch a little bit as Runge swings on that one for strike 2. But Cole Ottersberg, like so many baseball players of today, a big golf fan. And a lot of guys, he said on Media Day, if you want to golf, hit him up. So any people out in Pier want to take him up on that offer. The 2-2 to Runge fouled off into his body.
Yeah, we'll have to get old Cole out to the Dunes golf course and see if he's as good on the tee box as he is at the plate.
As he did say, that was his quote in Media Day. I asked him for a fun fact like I did all the players in the kind of industrial line style interview, and he said, if anyone wants to golf, just hit me up. So not too hard to reach. You can find him anywhere. His off speed is fouled off there by Runge. Right into the metal grate. It sticks in the metal grate. We're going to have to fish that one out eventually. That one's stuck right above the broadcast booth.
And I think that's good for a free slushie. So if you see me climbing on this grate after the bottom of the ninth, don't be surprised.
2-2-2 to Runge. Misses outside for... They ring him up. That ball was well off the plate. The umpire maybe trying to get home. Trey Runge can't believe that one, but game ends 11-2. I thought we were going to see another pitch, but evidently not. Sodbusters rally back in this one. They score 11 unanswered to take the game over the Oahe Zap 11-2. We'll be right back after this short break for our post-game show.
Things in life you can't control. Your in-laws just bought a new house right next door. Construction is behind schedule, so you have to detour to work. Again. That car next to you just lost control and swerved into your lane. Things in life you can control. Wearing your seatbelt. In South Dakota, over 55% of those who die in a car crash aren't buckled up. Control what you can. Always wear your seatbelt.
Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Dunes Golf is celebrating their 30th anniversary this summer. They look forward to seeing old friends and new acquaintances on the driving range and on the course throughout the summer. Play 9 or 18 holes. Pay by the round. Save with a punch card or become a member for unlimited play. Dunes Golf is a great location for group outings or a summer play day. Call 605-223-2525 or see golfdunes.com. Just 1 mile north of Fort Pierre on Highway 1806. Dunes Golf.
Get ready, Central South Dakota. Oahe Days in Pierre is back, June 20th and 21st at Steamboat Park.
It's the annual music and arts festival you don't want to miss. Live music, amazing food, local vendors, carnival rides, a beer garden, and so much more.
Friday night, it's 90s party band, the Mallrats.
And Saturday, country fans, Struggle Jennings takes the stage.
The 3 bands each night start at 5 p.m.
Grab the full lineup and details now at oahedays.com.
If you're interested in becoming a valued sponsor of an Oahe Zap broadcast, you can contact us for more information at sports@dakotaradiogroup.com or call us at 605-224-8686.
A couple of fans that were enjoying some beer buckets are now trying to heave some tennis balls as far as they can fly. And, well, you might as well let them have fun. After that 11-2 loss for the Zap, they head into 3 days off. Hello, everybody. We welcome you back to the broadcast booth for the post-game show. Alongside Dilla Beach, I'm Justin Cowart. Tough loss here for the Zap. They got out in front early with an Aiden Johnson home run. They got up 1-0, and maybe one of the wildest plays we've seen on a diamond was Gavin Frazier sprinting down to first base after the wild pitch got past Mr. Johnston behind home plate. So he gets to second. And then he steals third. A wild throw from third brings him home. Zap took the 2-0 lead. But then it was all Hastings after that. They score 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 6 in the 7th. And that would be the dagger, that 7th inning, with a couple of really well-placed bunts. And it was just a great overall performance by the Hastings Sodbusters, and maybe a sour taste that the Zap need going into a couple of days off before they come back here at home.
Yeah, it wasn't your night here at home, and you wanted to get back in the win column, but just wasn't able. As tennis ball toss here concluding, those fans maybe a bit richer than I am. Those balls cost $1 a piece. They wasted a good few out there making Alex Sheets run after some of those, but just not the Zaps' night, and they got off to a hot start like they've done so many times this year and just unable to keep that lead.
So the Zap will try to regroup in these couple days off, and then they are home for a while, and we're excited to bring you a long homestand. Their next home game will be this upcoming Friday, which is also a Bolt Buddies Day. So you can get your kids over to the ballpark early in the afternoon, well before first pitch. Let them run the bases, let them meet the team, get some autographs, learn some fundamentals about the game of baseball, and get some of that energy expent on a hot summer day that we expect here. Going to be in the mid-90s coming up in this week, but we'll cool down nicely over the weekend, and then we'll get real nice and cool. A perfect couple of days of weather to get out to the ballpark here at Hyde Stadium. They will have about 10 games in 11 days here at home before they go back on the road to Spearfish for 2 games, and then they'll be back home. Their game coming up on Friday will be 1 of 4 against the Casper Spuds. Then they'll have a couple more at home. And they're just going to try to get into the win column. And Jamie Habiger over there having a conversation with his team. And, maybe some smiles. I don't know if those are sarcastic smiles or what. But, this one for the Zap, maybe not their best defensive effort. Some, like we said, really well-placed bunts by the Hastings Sodbusters. They got the Zap defense really confused. And they put him into spots where we didn't know if Ty Farwell was going to field it. We didn't know if the pitcher was going to field it, Braxton Plemons. And the Hastings Sodbusters took advantage. They put some charges into ones as well. But kind of looking down the line, I'll be really interested to see with this Hastings team, when they see them again in early July, how they stack up and what they've learned from this loss here today.
Yeah, definitely versus one of the best teams in the league. You want to try your best for the upset, but it wasn't your night tonight. What can you take forward from this game? What went right? What do you need to go get working on? And on defense, for sure, going to be one of those topics that when you don't have a lot of practice time, you don't have a lot of time to really work on stuff like that outside in the games, but was definitely one of the faults in the Zap defense today. And a lot of things you can always work on, you can always improve on as a team, but you also can't be too hard on yourself after a loss. You got to look in the mirror and be like, what worked? Gavin Frazier had a great play. Aiden Johnson hit a homer. You got to look and see what worked, but can't get complacent.
It will be 3 off days for the Zap, but there will certainly be a lot of time put in on the diamond, getting those fundamentals worked out, and we'll see a totally different Zap team this upcoming Friday. We'll go on the air Friday evening at 5:55, so if you can't make it out here to Hyde Stadium, you can tune in on River 92.7. You can also watch this game live on Friday night and all of the other Zap games at home on drgnews.com through the Oahe Zap YouTube. Well, for Eli Lewis, for Mr. Dylan Beach, I'm Justin Cowart. One final time from Hyde Stadium, 11-2. The Zap go down, but they'll look to get back and better than ever on Friday night. Thanks for tuning in and spending your Monday evening with us. We'll see you Friday evening. I'm Justin Cowart saying so long and good night from Hyde Stadium.
This broadcast of Oahe Zap Baseball was brought to you by DRG Media Group and its sponsors. The next home Zap game will be broadcast right here on River 92.7 and drgnews.com. Thanks for tuning in.